2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon here as we head towards the weekend. Just seeing a couple things of note as far as the overall market is concerned. The latest stopgap spending bill from the Republicans failing at the House. They're saying they're going to reconvene after 4 p.m. this evening and continue to work on something. Remember, theoretically, they have until the end of today to get something done, or there will be a shutdown of the U.S. government. So we'll keep an eye on that this afternoon. I was also just reading a couple things. Amazon did move ever so slightly on this, but Amazon violated nationwide workers' rights settlements. That's from the U.S. Labor Board. And according to Bloomberg, so Bloomberg reporting that Amazon violated nationwide workers' rights settlements. So that's just popping up in front of me. There was also a note on Ford. They were announcing more strikes to come. UAW was talking about more strikes to come for Ford. Ford then comes out, an exec saying 300 to 500,000 supply workers could be laid off because of these latest UAW strike plans that have been announced. This one as well, NVOS, Novo Integrated Sciences. There was a spike down there on a Hindenburg tweet in regards to why it is up today. You can see there was a new deal announced for this company this morning. Hindenburg already tweeting that it looks, quote unquote, fake, and they should reply to their tweet. So we'll see what happens with that. Ford, as I mentioned, it did actually spike up on that news initially, but market dragging everything back downside. So heads up on Ford. That's how the overall S&P 500 is looking as we head towards the end of what is going to be, pretty red board, pretty red month for markets right across the entire spectrum here. S&P, the NASDAQ, and Dow all going to finish September significantly lower. As we were discussing at the beginning of the month, NVIDIA, Microsoft standing out as relatively strong along with Amazon, even despite that latest headline there. Banks are weak, healthcare stocks are weak. Energy has been very, very weak all day long, continues to be with oil still dragging along day lows. That's how things are looking on the S&P. We're right back to essentially the lows here, support from throughout the entire week. But we'll see what happens with this spending bill, I should say, and stopgap if they can't get something done before the end of the day. I mean, I was going back over the past couple of days and reading about the last few times this has happened, and every single time, even when there was a shutdown, it was like 1 day, 2 days, 1 day, 2 days. So, and then they figure things out. So not anticipated to be a big deal, even if it does. Let's talk about what we were discussing if you were with us in the pre-market this morning. Nike was on tap. We'll keep an eye on Ford here, see if we get any further flush. Nike was on tap after earnings, though. Up 10 plus in the pre-market, guys. Certainly isn't now. 2 hours to go.
That is true, and welcome. Before we get to Nike, like the NASDAQ.
Up before.
Yeah, look, the NASDAQ 14.8. Like 14.8 in the NASDAQ is kind of where we're at right now. Let's just got to get it out of the way because this is where you had the bit of a dip and pullback, breakout, or whatever you want to call it late in the day, and then it was resistance the day before. So you are at a major price level, which could be an inflection point. Nike, 95. Look, I kind of feel like we went over this. It rejected off of 100. It just maybe went too far to the upside, despite not a terrible report in a lot of ways. Obviously, the direct-to-consumer is doing pretty well. Everything outside of the U.S. had some good growth, but it was close to that 100 level, and it rejected it right away at the open, unfortunately for them. But there was the 95 kind of over-under in a couple of times here. I didn't get it, sat back down the desk and missed the 95, but I'm in this consolidation short. If it's going to be stair-step down, the way I see it, like I can tight stop to just underneath VWAP in here in this consolidation, and if we break down, the Nike can follow suit. It's up 7% still, so you could still see some profit taking going into the close. If 14.8 holds, I'm going to get stopped out kind of tight here above that 20 level. The other thing is I mentioned the NASDAQ 14.8. Of course, as Brendan mentioned, key level on the ES futures, the S&P futures, 4,300. So depending on which one you're watching, either way, we're at a pretty big inflection point. I still think overall Nike might be making a bit of a bottom. Just today was a failure off the $100 level. Good sign, it'll close above 94. If it does, I think that's a good level to close above. But the fade sometimes happens. When you're up way too much, people like to take profit. Happens on a Friday.
I mean, there's the top of the day, basically made right at 10:30 or 10, I guess. 15,060. So 15,060. We just touched 14.8, 14.820. So what a big move to the downside right here, joined by Apple, joined by Amazon. We've been sort of chasing some of these longs, which was not great. We are now short into Apple, but yeah, man, the saga continues here as this is what the NASDAQ looks like. You know, the ultimate bottom today, maybe 14.7, but look at this. This is a 50-period moving average. Now, it's just a 60-minute chart, right? And so you can't always look at these lines. You're always going to find some chart that lines up with something. But you're also bouncing. So this was just on the 25th, so a few days ago, you know, we had some back and forth there at this level of 14.8. So no surprise that we're kind of having a little bit of problem going lower from here. So we'll just have to wait to see what's happening with this market the rest of the afternoon. Because Neil just, well, not because he mentioned it, but it is a Friday. So any of the selling, you know, it needs to kind of happen now on this market. So let's go. Here's Apple. We short. We never got stopped out. So short all the way in here. We were long early. And then once we broke the 200-period moving average on the 5-minute chart, we started hitting the short. And it's just short, it's just short, it's just short. Let's see if it continues to make that happen. And then, of course, Brennan said, like, oh, Nike, which was up about 10%, which seemed to be a lot. I even said that yesterday when I was talking about where I thought this name could go. Do you remember the level that I said, if you guys were with us on, and the level that Ms. Shea said yesterday as well on our show, $95. We were talking about $95 before the print even happened yesterday. Look at the bottom today, $95. So maybe there is going to be some support there. I can't remember why it was so important, but $95 looks like a nice support area there for Nike. I'd still say try to play the fade, but you know, VWAP 96.50. I don't really prefer trading earnings plays on the day that they report. We kind of stayed away from Micron yesterday. Nike, I don't know, could barcode the rest of the day. Let's just stay short these big cap names as we're still heading to the downside. Amazon's actually holding out. When I almost went long on that, we don't have Amazon on there, but Brendan mentioned that there was another complaint about a workforce violation, or I don't remember what it was. Oh, I have it right here, nationwide violation worker rights. I thought they were going to continue to go down. Otherwise, we may have sat in and around here. It didn't come in yet. This story is in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But I was thinking about a 126.50. You see, like Amazon, we kept trying to catch the long. And again, okay. We're going to be down on Amazon. It's not horrible. But again, 126.50, I kind of want to look at that. We're just 70 cents in the money on Apple, though. That's the only trade. Oh, all right, Apple's next. So why don't we go over back to the desk and discuss some Apple before I do it by myself over here.
Yeah, let's talk about Apple. I mean, it was a pretty uneventful day for Apple. We were discussing some new China issues that were raised overnight. China officials talking a lot about apps and apps that are coming from outside of the country into the country. Essentially, anything that runs as software in China has to be approved and then essentially turned on by the Chinese government. None of this obviously is going to affect things immediately, but they're saying there could be more crackdowns to come for Apple.
Yeah, people were using VPNs to try to get around and use the American social media apps, which are banned there. So now they either want the VPNs removed entirely from the App Store in China, or they want all those actual apps that people are downloading removed, because you could actually download them, but you just couldn't use them because it would be blocked by the firewall. So we'll have to look and see what they do. I mean, it's another hiccup for Apple in China.
Yeah, not a great looking candle on the daily chart forming here, guys. I mean, the whole market kind of looking like that, but Apple at least holding up better than the rest right now.
Is it? I mean, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. But percentage-wise, yeah, okay, percentage-wise, sure. It's hard to say holding up better than the rest when it's at the lows and about to test big support from yesterday. But it's still above 170. Like 170, you had the wick out bottom yesterday underneath 170 and then kind of held support at 170 at this time yesterday. I think it's... I think if we break 14.8, it's a foregone conclusion that you could try to fill in this gap on Apple. So it's flat right now. I think it's either, you know, work off the higher low 171.5 or wait till it does something at 170. There's other names at more key prices, at least, where it looks like you can get into something. But it's distinction without a difference to say that it's doing better or worse. I mean, technically Amazon's like up, but Amazon's also at the low of the day. So you can pick and choose, but none of these charts look any good on big tech. And while we're mentioning Amazon, sometimes it's like you should just reverse. Like that 128, which was
Yes,
a bounce zone, it's
tell me
like,
about it.
if you look at it, hindsight's always going to be 20/20, but sometimes you have to look at these things. If 128 is a key level, previous resistance turns into support. When it breaks down, it turns right into resistance on a trend to the downside. So it's a little bit frustrating when that does happen. But if you don't look at it, then you're never going to learn from it, right? So sometimes you have to look back at those trades, even ones you make, ones you don't make. That was one that didn't get made, which I think is frustrating. So Nike's trying to roll over. I just took a fill. It's breaking back down to like 95, 60 or so. So I'm going to get some out if it gets to that 95 even because, 95 has been support. So if it gets down there, I want to take some profit out. But Apple, unless you're already in it, like Sean's already got a 171.20, I think in front of the 50 makes sense, and then wait for it to get to 170 because that's where support was yesterday. I think if you try to get short too close to it, you run the risk of a bit of a bounce. It is that time of day, where you wait things out till 3 o'clock in power hour. I wouldn't want to be shorting lows on major support.
All right. Yeah, so this is the thing. All right, so the sticky note here, we had 171 long, okay? So that's what we were trying, and then once it broke and the market seemed to be breaking, that's when I just flipped up the whole strategy and then started using 171 as like a trigger to go short. So that's really why we talk about the sticky note being key levels and things like that. The 171 long was actually pretty good because it retraced all the way back to 171.30, but then you got the flush down. I have way too many outs here, but I also have way too many shares. So it's we're just trying to, again, Apple's a very positive stock for me today. Many of the other names are not. So it keeps on resisting this 170.50. So I feel like if it does bounce back, it's kind of looking exactly like the futures. Obviously, when Apple moves, the futures are going to move. Apple's still a little stronger than the futures right now, than the NASDAQ anyways. The ES is way more red than the NASDAQ now. So I don't know. I'm going to have to find out what's underneath that hood. Is it oil today? Are we heading to the downside? CLZ. Let's see what crude is. I thought it was down earlier. Is it down huge? Is that the problem? No, it's only down 1%, so that's probably not it. We were trying to go long JP Morgan earlier, right here. Again, pretty good until it dropped. I guess the short was right at 147, not the long. This is down, so yeah, probably banking weakness today for sure because a lot of the big tech names aren't down 1.2%, right? So what is Google down actually? 1.17, yeah. I was gonna say this might be the worst. Look at all these longs. Again, trying to catch these falling knives. But yeah, let's stay short China and stay short Apple. I don't, that's gonna be the play for me for a while. Let's try to hold this all the way to the close, honestly. If we take out this level right here, that's where I'm getting out. 171.31 or so, that's where my stop is.
I was just hearing, guys, that a Bloomberg reporter, so take this for what it's worth, via a tweet was suggesting that a Democrat has now suggested that they're going to work towards October 13th and work on a full year spending bill in the next 2 weeks during a shutdown. So again, take that for what it's worth. It's coming from a tweet from a Bloomberg reporter. Did we touch, Tesla was kind of a non-event today. I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves here with the board a little bit, but Tesla, very, very tiny. I want to show you the daily chart. Very, very tiny daily candle forming here, but it did reject off 250 again. We are expecting, yeah, I can fix that. We are expecting deliveries at some point, probably even in the next 2 days.
Yeah, and people were talking about the deliveries coming in below expectations. If that's the case, we'll have 2 quarters of deliveries below expectations. But I would suggest to you that this is done purposely and deliberately because we know that the refresh for the Model 3 is coming out, and people are probably holding off the purchase. At least I would be if I was in the market for a Model 3, wouldn't you?
100%. We were talking earlier in the week about this more efficient and more cost-effective production they started up over in Shanghai as well. So, yeah, prices continue to come down. I was reading a note going back to, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, about the Model Y specifically, in that people who purchased it at the beginning of the year were 65 to 70,000. On the price decline path that it was heading, by the end of the year, it was going to be 40,000. So that's huge for the Model Y, guys.
Yeah, speaking of the Model 3, on Wednesday when I wasn't here, I got a chance to pick up my daughter from school, which she obviously loves, and she sees like there was a Model 3, like a navy blue Model 3 sitting in the parking lot that obviously belonged to one of the teachers, I'm going to assume, and she says, "Daddy, that looks like a really cool car. How come we don't have one of those?" I was like, "Because you don't have a job." That's the thing. Like, I actually believe. Like I was so close. I was so close myself to recently getting a Tesla, and I feel like there's a group of people, myself included, where they're really close to, they want to make the leap, but they're not there yet. They don't necessarily believe in the battery technology, or maybe you're concerned about cold weather, maybe you're concerned about if there's like a power outage, and all of these little things out there. And I think some of the pullback you're having now is a little bit of those fears and numbers starting to come in. Look, I like Tesla and I'm buying it on dips in my long term, but it just feels a little bit heavy right now, and it doesn't quite have the oomph that it does when it makes a bit of a bounce. Because if you look at the wipeout bottom on 2 days ago and the day yesterday, it was going for it again today. Like that's the kind of move on Tesla when it's breaking a channel up. You're like, yeah, we're above 250, we're gonzo, we're headed to 261. And I'm looking back on this and I'm like, why in the, wasn't I thinking a reversal short? Now I have ARM, I liked ARM, I got Nike. We had a couple of other shorts this morning and they were pretty good. CCL was pretty solid, but never once considered Tesla on a reversal. It just never crossed my mind to be shorting Tesla today, and that was a big mistake, especially when it did that reversal. And the other one, and I know this is something a lot of times, like right as we're finishing lunch money, Rivian got into that level. Remember, it looked like a bit of a breakout. It was like zoom out and see where the resistance is at that $24.50. Well, look where it goes, right to $24.50 exactly, rolls right over, it's back underneath. Maybe there's a little something for the afternoon off the 24 level even, like to 24.20, but that was a liquidity grab on what looked like a breakout on a short-term chart, but when you zoom out, you find resistance on the daily that everyone's buying into a falling market. So market's going down, people are buying tops in a break, it's heading into resistance on a name like Rivian's. Up 3%, and that's all great, but sometimes you have to make sure you look at the bigger picture because it needs to clear that 24.5 to get that next leg going. It has been selling above 24 since going all the way back to the beginning of September. This entire month, you've had resistance from 24 to 24.5 on Rivian. This is just a day where it was screaming into that level in a weak market and pull back, and Tesla pulled back. There were lots of great short opportunities today, so it's not really saying much if you missed out on some of them, right? Like you got the ones that you can, and then you try to figure out how you could have done better to grab a few more of them on the way back in here today.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some more shorts right now as we're trying to be as patient as we can waiting for this. I was actually looking at Square right now. It looks like they're trying to drop below here as well. Breaking the bottom of the day right now is SQ. Still positive though, which is trying to throw a little bit of a wrench into everything. I kind of wish that we had a negative name that was trying to go a little bit lower here, not this name, but Square again. This is another one that's been absolutely destroyed. Oh, we were looking at PayPal earlier today. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, so we talked about a $60 level there for PayPal. That's coming into 58 as well down there. So there are some good long areas here right now that we could have a look at. Apple's still doing nothing, so this is the thing. Like I want to get some action here. I still think we need to be short something, not long anything. So yeah, Tesla deliveries apparently this weekend. If not, we'll find out more about it. Someone put October 2nd there in the chat as well. And it's funny because that same story about your kids is what I've been saying for a long time. My kids are just always like, they're just going to have Tesla.
Yes.
So it's like that's the only car that they care about. It doesn't matter which model or anything like that. They just want to get Tesla. So
or VinFast.
Or a VinFast, yeah. Or that, and the wife wants R1T. So I mean, something's going to have to happen there. But
they look nice.
Yeah. Well, they look better than Teslas, anyways. Yeah. All right. So the Tesla Cybertruck. Well, I'm not letting anybody roll around in that. But right there, 250. 251.30
like
right there for Tesla. 251.30, the 50-period moving average. So we'll have a look at that for Tesla. Again, I'm more interested when this gets back to 250 or 240. So I feel like we're just in the middle now. I'm not super excited about that. I'm just waiting for this Apple to break lower. I just got some more outs here at the 21 period, but I still feel like we want to break this 40 to the downside. Come on, futures. I just need to roll over.
Wow. We were just noting the CEO of Robinhood on CNBC right now, live, so not really doing much, but actually having a positive day anyways for Robinhood shares. Yeah, China was up ADRs anyways right across the board this morning in the pre-market. There were a few individual catalysts in relation to EV stocks, primarily XPeng with a share repurchase announced. We had Alibaba as well, JD.com, PDD, all higher after government officials came out and said they're going to continue to work on measures to stimulate the economy more, including opening up things for travel to resume back to that country. So positive talk once again, but we'll see.
Yeah, and they have a goal. They have a stated goal of 5% GDP growth per year, and I think they're pretty much hell-bent on maintaining that goal. So look for more stimulus. If you continue to see the Chinese B2B and B2C suffer, which it has been for the entire year, I'm going to look for more stimulus.
Meanwhile, at day lows is the market. Here's XPeng, guys, taking out day highs, up 5.5% still.
We're on semis.
Did we skip semis?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that, eh? So that's how much we're going to disrespect semiconductors? Okay, no, that's fine. We don't have to. Micron's only up 4%. You know, ripping faces off all day long. No one cares about NVIDIA or SMCI or I don't know. No, but I see. Okay, whatever. We'll go to China. It's fine. It's fine. Throw us off like that. And the funny thing about it is if Sean and I go off schedule, like it's all up in our ear. You guys are supposed to be talking about this and blah, 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 blah. No, it's fine. It's all good. Except for the fact that NEO sucked today. So here's NEO. I made one trade on NEO. I was looking for the bounce off the previous close. So this is, maybe zoomed out a little bit too far. It came down in, looked for the dip buy. It dipped here, bought the break with the stop underneath. It's like sometimes at least you followed your rule almost to the T. The only problem with following it to the T is I almost made bottom wick. So did not get back in here, looked for that hump, and thought we're going to go whoosh. Taking out 925, going to 950. I had dreams of yesterday's move only off a like yesterday. You look at the dip, you caught the dip and rip, and that's kind of what I was thinking today. Like there is a dip, and it was a huge move, like a 50, 60 cent initial move, and then another dip, and then you got another push to the upside, half that size. So I was looking for that same trade today. So when you risk 12 cents, it's because I was looking for the bigger move in here today, but I should have had some stick-to-itiveness. Because stick-to-itiveness would have allowed me to get right back in when it took out this consolidation a second time. I don't think there's a trade this afternoon because the Chinese ADRs don't really move in the afternoon, so I'll stay away from that. And Pinduoduo, I like to short off Pinduoduo at 100. That stock decided it didn't want to go to $100, although it got pretty close. On the daily, this is more like that Rivian where the entry is above 100, like Rivian, the entry is above 24. The entry was above 100 into 101. Never happened, so I didn't get a chance to fade Pinduoduo today either. But hey, at least with NEO, it's set up. I traded it once and lost. Traded it twice, I would have been up at least. But with Pinduoduo, it never set up, so I didn't have to trade it, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we have to do a little bit better is not taking trades that don't set up, right? You got to wait and be patient. If you can be patient, then you can win over and over and over again. I'm just noticing that, I don't know if there's some call buying happening now or something, but we've just been getting out of some, oops, that's AMD I'm looking at. It's Apple is what I want to talk about though. We've just been getting out now on the bid as it goes. Like I told you, we had a lot of shares up here, nice little fall back in, started to buy them back in the 60s and 70s right now.
Just going to waste that.
So we're going to find out what happens now at 170.65, even lower moves coming through on Apple. So I think I want to just get out a little bit right now. We can, I don't know, are we going to talk about semis back there?
Apparently they're not important, Sean. I don't know why. Nobody cares about semiconductors, so.
Wow, okay. Well, let's go see if they care. All right, Sharif, what say you?
Do you? UAW rejecting Ford's suggestion it is holding contract hostage. Says there are serious disagreements remaining on core issues. So there wasn't much of a move on that, but more UAW talk coming in relation to Ford down 1.2 still. Yeah, apparently we have to talk about semiconductors. So there was much in the way of catalysts this morning outside of what happened yesterday with AMD. Monster day on that Microsoft comment. Microsoft officials pointing to AMD specifically for AI strength to come. Obviously not the one we've been looking at all this long, but overall AMD and NVIDIA, the ones that have been moving this week.
I think the market is just dying for somebody to step in and actually compete with NVIDIA in the GPU space. We know that there are other types of processors that are going to actually be AI capable. We saw the TPUs coming out of Google. There's other ones coming out that are actually, microprocessor based rather than GPU based. We'll see how it goes. Micron had a hell of a day today. I would submit to you that the DRAM is integral to the actual, expansion of AI as well. So keep your eye on that. Don't forget, it's not just about GPUs. We're going to need DRAM for this as well.
There are more UAW-related comments coming through as well, guys. So just watch some of the auto workers, now GM being mentioned too.
Yeah, so first things, I'm probably going to get a trail out soon on ARM. Just going to throw that out there. I was going to lead with Micron, but I might get trailed out of it. I was going to re-enter this trade, but if we're making a low, ARM's at 53. I'm getting out of Dodge on this one. I joined ARM a little bit late off this consolidation here. I just kind of made the decision I'm getting out of it. If I like it back at 54, I might jump back into the trade at 54, but we've just made a couple of bounces off 14.8 that look a little bit convincing to me, and AMD is bouncing off 53 even. But I wanted to get to Micron because at least I had the good sense to get out of the way of Micron. It gave the short that I was looking for, which is fail 68, consolidate just underneath 68, shorted it, it got down to 67.40 or so. I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good, almost 1% in the money, get a couple of legs out, and then it slams right back up to local high, got out, relatively tight stop. However, where I got out of the trade is exactly where Adara was calling the long. And this was a great long, and I think one of the cool things when in the midday segment is you can see Adara's only starting to trade, picking up patterns, right? Like this is a stock that's up, and then it holds support. Like this is a bull flag, and it's holding that support level, which you can use to buy. Now it looks like Micron might be one of the stronger ones. Sometimes you like to go long something which is strong instead of weak. I think the 67.5 area can be a place to get the long over there in Micron. And then AMD tried it a couple of times in the morning, was catching the falling knife, and then it was like 103 actually was a good hold at previous close. Now it looks a heck of a lot better on that 15-minute. You're pretty tight to that level with a 102.80 bottom. So I think you want the long a little bit closer to 103 if you're using that for risk, in my opinion. But AMD showing some signs of making a bid, whereas Micron, that's just been strong all day. Micron having a very good relief rally, bucking the trend of the overall market.
Yeah, all day, baby. All right. I was looking at AMD. So we just right now, we reshorted Apple, which, yes, sir. Okay. Fail. Hopefully it fails and comes down. We just shorted it right there at 171 flat. So we're going to try to put 20 more cents or so in our pocket. We just bid. All right, I'll take it again. We just got back-to-back 82s there. Let's see if it falls again. Like that was a good one. We're now bidding 71s. Hopefully we can retrace back down a little bit. Right there it is. Yes, sir. Finally. Okay. Yeah, we don't have enough of it, but we could always have more of it there. But there it is, a nice little fall down there for Apple. Let's see if we continue on the downside. And we just, the line is probably gone now. Yes, it is. But we were looking at this line right here as a possible long, 102.80 right into there. So here it comes. This is what we were doing, right into there. So it dipped back, in the morning. That's where we're trying to go long. It's funny because the market was up and then we had a nice move down, bounced off 102.80, bounced throughout here. And then it just didn't get up. I mean, I'm looking for, I don't know if I'm looking for a long there, but that's where the support is let's go right now. Yes, sir. Maybe tonight on the recap show, we'll recap Apple because like a glove right there, it fits perfectly right into there at 171, comes right back in, and we'll just take four. Like, that's the thing. You're going to look at Rivian. You're going to look at all these stocks. Like, you got to look at, and Rivian's moving I mean, Rivian was top stock for me this week. It's just like Apple. Some of these names are really, really going now. So I feel like you want to stay with some big tech names coming through right now, like Amazon. That was I was so, you know, this is what I'm talking about with trades. And Neil said, you know, if it doesn't set up, you don't have to take it, and that is true. But look at this. Like, I was so close just to, like, this is top. This has been the top for an hour and a half here. 127.13, 127.20, whatever, that level. It just gave it to you, and I was so close. I chose Apple instead, which is fine. I didn't choose Apple. Apple chose me. But that's the play right there. 127.20 for Amazon. If that comes back in, I think you want to watch out for it. I'm a little nervous about this one. It's still net positive on the day. Up on the day, and then we had a couple stories there that I thought would have cratered the stock a little bit more than I mean, it's been cratering. We've only been going long, as you can see, but that's a pretty good level right there. Also, where we were in the pre-market before we went upside on that PCE number today, right? So let's just wait to see if Amazon holds that 127.20. But for now, we'll take the 50 cents in the money. We still have 60% of this trade on as well. So nice little reload there on Apple. Let's see if it continues to go down. And I guess we're done now, because we already talked about the Chinese ETFs, the Chinese big tech names there. We also have FXI. Let me just call that up quickly before we go back over to handle some business. FXI. So this was such a good short at $30 right now. So
Femi Huadungt. It just grabbed underneath $3. If this holds 3, this could be all solid.
All right, so there goes Femi there. You're in now on Femi. But, okay, Neil will deal with that, and we'll come back. We'll see what resolves of that. And let's go over to Brennan at the desk.
A rundown brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used on the desk by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment. Check out the QR code, bottom right corner of the screen, guys. Take advantage of this if you haven't. Great deal, 20% off. Trader TV 20. Shout out to our friends over at Trade Ideas.
So Michael Noss coming today, Trade Ideas. Go ahead, you have Femi.
So Femi, we were looking at this one at that $3 level all throughout lunch. And I was sort of telling Sharif, like, the long at 3 was absolutely insane. Sometimes a lit grab underneath okay, never mind. That's a little interesting.
Definitely not surge trader.
Sometimes a lit grab underneath a price like that can be the way to go. So just come to my chart very quickly. It broke $3. Okay, it broke $3, held it $2.90, and on the way back up, it's like let it break, catch it on the way back up for the rubber band action. Someone jammed immediately, and they're still there. They were 50,000 lots, now they're 35,000 on the offer at 10s, which was previous resistance. So I did take some out there at 1-to-1, but the kind of right underneath 3, and then on the way back up, grab the 301. So you're not getting it on the way down. I'm seeing it break down, hold that $3 level, and then jump back in with a stop underneath the low. So now if it goes all the way back to the upside, you can profit on the way up and hold some if it takes out the high of the day. But you had that lit grab rinse out a bunch of longs, which were really, really good off the 3 level. And now suddenly Femi's going to continue to go. The other thing that happened, CCL. Did we even talk about CCL in the rundown? I don't think so. Probably not. CCL earnings this morning, you know, they report like 5 minutes before the open or 10 minutes or whatever the heck it is. Then they have their conference call. I sat it out till the conference call was over. That's when it broke down right here at 420. Grabbed the short when it bounced up to 14. It stalled here at 13.5. Now all of a sudden, with 1360, now all of a sudden 13.5 is new resistance. So a couple of times I did not take it. It just made a pump into 13.5. And I grabbed the short on the way back in. I'm going to take some out in the 30s and then lower the day if we get there, stopping out above 1350. And then we'll see what happens. In that little push down, did AMD get to 10? Oh, yeah, probably missed AMD. I'm assuming.
I was watching Apple. I didn't even notice AMD.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That last little pullback, AMD did give you like the over-under at 103. That's the same thing. Like, you can be watching a couple of things there. I had my eye on Femi for that $3 move, and then CCL I had my eyeballs on, but there was your chance maybe to get that 103 long on AMD, which is looking like pretty solid support for the time being. This looks like a really good level. Maybe this is the last chance to get it. What is Micron doing here? Mike hit enter twice. Micron holding the line at VWAP, but not really breaking out. Micron on VWAP might not be bad either. Just kind of give it into the 60s here.
The number one stock P&L wise, I think for all shows today, is going to be CCL, and it's just right there, and it's this trade alone. The earnings came in, went up, went down, and again, I would say this to Brendan because he was like, "There's nothing that bad in the report at all." So we just bought it, hit it right back to the upside, and we basically have, despite the wick. Despite these two wicks right there, we have that top. We basically have the top of the day right there at 1540, which is part of it. So boom to the upside goes CCL. It's crazy to say that it's the top stock P&L wise because it's 235 and the trade was done at 932. Just goes to show you, should have been, damn it, more short, and then we could have replaced it with something else. But CCL was a good trade today. We hit it early, and then since then, it's just been faded all day. So down to 13 bucks. I don't know. There's a lot of people. I don't think it matters if you like cruises or if they're busy or whatever. They're highly levered. They have so much debt. And again, with just being lazy, I didn't look. I knew I wasn't going to trade it the rest of the day, so I didn't look at any reports or anything like that. But again, down 7%. The market's telling you what's up. So I would say down here maybe it's nice when the 200 period sort of lines up with some support areas. So I think 1250. You know, if it's going to be such a bad day, maybe if the market continues to head down on Monday or even now, it's not going to get to 1250 today, but if you do get to that 1250 level, I could see a buying opportunity there for CCL, and you might want to look at RCL, Norwegian as well. So there's a NCLH. There's a bunch of different stock in the cruise space, of course. And this is what got me distracted. So there's some more outs in the 50s. I mean, we took that. There's the reload at 71. And there we have a tick. So this, I was just sitting here and got filled on that one, 45s. Then I went over here and took this because it went down to the low of the day. So I manually punched into this one and took some more out on the short. So we only have 30% of the position now on Apple, but it's been pretty good, man. It's been very, very good, actually. Yeah, join me tonight. We'll have Michael Noss on, and you know, we'll talk all about everything, hopefully, and any kind of plays that you want. I want to talk to him about oil, and then I'll message him. Actually, I'll have to check if he answered me back. I'll ask him if there was anything specific. He had a firm this morning. We can ask him how that turned out today, if or not he got filled. PayPal at 50, it just keeps on hitting my scanners because it keeps on coming back down to support levels. And it's just 50 bucks right here, right now. What did Square break too much lower there? Because Square was a name, obviously block. Okay, so I think that was the bottom I was talking about, 49.50 there. It did break it, but it didn't go very far, man. It went to, 44.49. It only went down to 44.40, so it's like 10 cents. Doesn't look like Square really has it in it. No, Square was up. No, it was these levels we were talking about, right. It hasn't moved. So I don't know, man. Big move down in the market. Square kind of says, hold my beer. So I don't know. Nice move up. Square doesn't really bump. Nice move down. Square doesn't really move. So I'm gonna stay off this unless you're looking for 10 cents one way or the other. So I'm gonna be well off of that trade now, and looking for something else. Right now we just have Apple short. Is there anything that you guys want us to look at?
There was that.
I mean, SMH is 140.
What was that? SPLO.
SLNO.
SLNO, that's the one. Soleno.
Yeah.
I saw a few people saying Soleno $30. You know my feelings in generally chasing these. Just not a huge fan. Like, to me, like this, that in there is not bad. That in there where you can be long with a stop, reasonably out. Like if you're going to get a 30 move, you can be long like 28.5 with a reasonable stop to go $1.50 to 30, and then you're risking maybe 60 cents because there's going to be slippage there. So those types of breakouts or the dip buys are just a little bit easier to tangle with than taking a 30 break, because if you take the 30 break, I don't know, like I'd be stopping out at $29.99 if I take a 30 break on a stock like that. But there was a note about Soleno that I forgot to mention on the morning shows. I did read this, is that a firm that owns like 10% of Soleno has been buying in the last 2 days. So they own 10%, they bought 15 million. So a little bit of a kind of insider buying. After this went from $4 to $30, there was $15 million worth of shares bought by a firm that already holds a bunch of it. So I'm not saying that that means the stock's going to go up. A lot of times it means that somebody who should be in the know in the stock still likes the story as high as it happens to be. So strong mover. It is a double top. There you go. It is a double top on the daily. That's the problem with buying a 30 break as well, is you're right into this resistance, which was at 30.30. But wow, this has been an impressive run this week. Maybe one of the more impressive names on the week, because it did feel like you wrote it off on day 2 when it pulled back $10. Right back up to the highs is Soleno. Femi took another leg out there, kind of stalling at 30 1/4. If it breaks out now, it's got to get to that high of the day.
Yeah.
And we'll take a shot at that if we get it. Nike did make a bit of an adjustment to get more out here at 95.50. The thing about Nike is it makes that 95 bounce. Technically, it's putting in a higher low here. So 96, good, but if it's putting in a higher low around this 95.5, that gets a little bit bullish for a rebound trade. So I don't want to get caught while this NASDAQ and the ES are making lows, and you have a short which is forming a higher low. Take that profit, because you might have to cut and run, and then you wish you'd taken more profit when it was down in the money for you. So Nike up 7%, not really telling the story on how it was going today, but that's because of the gap up.
Right, yeah, exactly. We can look at Lulu. I mean, Lulu had that news with Piton coming through again. Apple's still bouncing around. I was looking, man. People were like, yo, what about Alibaba? And I was like, yo, it's not moving. So I'm not I mean, Square now, like, the problem is that I'll get obsessed with just sitting here in it. And it's like, if it's not moving around, it's really not going to be something, because I'm going to sit over there and I'm going to like look at Apple like I'm doing right now again and trying to find out where that's moving around, because it's actually moving. So Alibaba for me, we've talked about this over and over again in the afternoon, like so right now. Maybe in the midday you get a little bit of movement in some of these Chinese ADRs, but we've seen a very, very slow, steady crawl on some of these names as it goes. Right now, I'm kind of just thinking about golf on Sunday, because the weather's supposed to be amazing. And then we have like, I'm at 3 or 4 different hockey rinks tomorrow. That should be really fun as well. PayPal, okay, so PayPal's still bouncing off 58. That's not really coming out with anything. Let's check out Coinbase again, just to see. Like, all we're looking at is trying to find some stories here. I was actually thinking of Western Boots Alliance, WBA. Obviously, there was that story there today. And I just feel like Walgreens, you don't need to be in that name at all because of that move up. It was they're trying to, I think it was peg a new CEO. Yeah. But the thing is like, I don't know. I don't feel good about these like drugstores and all the theft and all that kind of stuff that's happening there. I mean, it's not happening around here, but apparently in the States it's bad. So I don't, this stock has been absolutely destroyed. And honestly, like my wife just messaged, my the body wash there that just came in, and I ordered it from Amazon yesterday, right? So she's like, oh, and something just came in for you, and that's what it was. And it's like, can't believe I'm even buying body wash on Amazon. Like, it's just, that's something that normally you would have gone to a Walgreens or a.
It's crazy. If you're actually discernible about price, you can still get good price on Amazon for those types of things. That's what's nuts. It's like,
I think I got the best price on Amazon. I think it was perfectly fine.
We did the same thing too.
It was like $4 for like that Dove men's.
Yeah, I know one.
Whatever it is. I think it's 400 milliliters.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like the gray one. So that's what we get. So I don't know. I feel like that's fine. And Amazon, I think, has the same prices as all these places. So anyways, I was looking at this breakdown right there. 2190 is the bottom. You had a huge move upside there. Again, this is a big Dow component, so obviously there's some dividends there that need to be paid as well, but straight to the downside. News is nice and everything. Maybe it's not going to move, but I was just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, because I think there's a tradable event there if it breaks down through 2190. It's been holding for about an hour or so.
I see you, Nolan. I actually got out of CCL. I had a 5-cent stop on the stock, because if you look at the range at the bottom here, the big move, if you look at the big move, that's all on earnings. When it calms down, really it was like 14 to 13.60 was the after earnings call move, and then that breakdown was really only about 30 cents as well. So I was looking to get that short underneath 50. I ended up with 46 and a half as a price, and you're taking it to the low, which is only 20 cents lower. So if the absolute move is only 20 pennies, and I'm probably taking out every 5 cents, and I want to stop out at 5 pennies. This could get back into VWAP. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Nike's coming back.
Right here.
But as Femi, just to get this out of the way, Femi took another leg out in the consolidation. Now I'm looking high of the day, and I've tightened my stop up. I'm not giving it to the low anymore. The rubber band trades happen. Now I'm giving it to $3 exactly. Stop is right underneath that $3 level. Shouldn't be too much slippage just looking at it. But Nike is right back up. This market's really starting to bounce now. And Nike is right back up to entry. 96 and a quarter. I'm long here just above 96, 96 and a quarter is the out. We're really starting to press. Where is Micron? Is that breaking out yet? Yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, too late. Micron already broke that 68. You're already at VWAP on AMD. I want to check out what ARM is doing. Probably a good decision.
I'm debating shorting that AMD there.
Good decision to get out of ARM at least, but I'm looking to try to re-enter this one between 54 and 54.40. Remembering though that at 3 o'clock, every single semiconductor basically ripped faces off from 3 to 4. Like that was maybe something to do with that NVIDIA story. The timing of it was around then, but yeah, just watch out. But ARM probably a good level to start getting, or at least think about getting into the short again. Not completely convinced. We're not trying to head lower. The NASDAQ's trying to hold green. I'm not convinced just yet, though.
No, I'm never convinced of anything these days, it seems like, because the minute you get convinced about something, you realize that you are completely wrong. It seems like anyways. It's like, okay, here comes the market rallying back. Nope, no, it's not. And then we just do that again on Apple. So let's go. We did it one more time as we were reloaded on that Apple trade, and we just took an 80 fill, actually an 84 fill, I believe. So we just reloaded there at 95, 6s. I don't know. We just took a dime. Let's see if it goes again. I don't know. Hopefully it does do that. But we do have a new position alert, so let's hit this for that. It's going to be AMD. So we'll watch out where AMD is going. I do have a bigger Apple trade waiting to come through, but there's AMD. You mentioned it went back up to VWAP, so I was like, fine by me right now. Our out is going to be just pennies higher than this. So we did make a move right there. So there's AMD, that's 71s. So we're short 65s right now. So we'll see if we can get a 54 or so bid. I'll bid something near 50s. I mean, if it's going to fall, it should fall back. What is that level right there, 55? All right, let's put a 54 fill there. I was waiting at 52. We'll put a 54, see if we get a dime, and then hopefully we'll retrace back into the 200, and then we'll see. But again, this is just a counter play because, so counter trend, meaning that we've hit up to VWAP right now. We obviously understand that this is a strong name, up 0.85. It's really held, man. It's really, really held this 103. We already drew that line there. 102.80, 102.90 has been the bottom. So how much movement is there really going to happen? Well, if we retrace all the way back down there, then yeah, we'll be really happy because we'll be nicely cooking on that. We are waiting for more shares up here at 71, and then I'm going to give it to 80s. So just want to see if we do float up. This is 80 right there. That's 83. We'll see if it floats higher here or not. Apple's trying to hold the day as well, upside. My trade for Apple is a little simple, just like what this is. Right up there is 171.28. I was going to get out if we broke above 171.10. So see this little level right there. As we keep on coming up. So I don't even want to deal with it because I want to put on some more shares. So if it gets really aggressive to the north side, we'll sit in front of it, we'll take some shares, and then if it breaks higher, my stop right now is at a break at that 15 level. So 171.15 is the breaker 19 on that one, and we are very, very close to the nether dime piece here on AMD. So just bounced off 55. Where was I waiting? At 54. So push down, we'll take a dime, and then maybe we'll get a retracement even lower on AMD. But there's the short into VWAP, and again, like I said that earlier, right? It's like sometimes, and it's because maybe I've had 3 CMTs on the market recap show this week, and it's just like trade the price action, trade what you see, and the stories are interesting, and they're going to give you whoosh, I like that. It's going to give you that, okay, here we go, bang. It's going to give you the reasons to be looking at a name, but then past the reasons, you know, you got to start executing against levels that you see, right? And so there goes Apple. Apple's not really going down at all, but we'll take another bid. I don't know why it's not going. We'll put another bid here at 86. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me soon. Hopefully we'll get an 86. No, but AMD is the cash one right now. So we'll put it 57s, and there it is right there. We'll spend a little bit of money because it's 20 cents. So we just put 20 cents on for you guys right there. And I said if AMD can come back to the 200, we're doing pretty good. So that's the move there on AMD. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It looks like Apple is the one. Oh yeah, we haven't looked at any weed stocks today. Apple is the one that's having strength here. So let's watch out of that, man. I mean, it looks like Apple wants to be a little bit strong. Good out there for AMD. We'll see if it goes even lower. But Apple's got my mind most concerned with.
Yeah, that little move to the upside with the NASDAQ going exactly to green and then pulling back. I already mentioned ARM. I did grab that one off the curl, but then Amazon goes right into resistance as well. So 127, it was support earlier today. Now it's turning into resistance. You see a level like that, and if you're not convinced, completely convinced that the market gets headed back up, it's hard not to want to short like that. It's the same thing as ARM. I think it's the same thing as the Apple trade. If you're showing a resistance level, if we're in a channel, if we're going to be holding that channel potentially, short the top. If you like the long, long the bottom. And if you are not convinced that the market's going to be a bounce, don't think about the long until you get the bottom or get the breakout of some of those highs. Like I was thinking, if you're going to go long something, well, if I'm going to go long something, I still think Micron could be it. It didn't really give you a dip into VWAP. It gave you a 68 break. Suddenly, I don't know if we get the best support levels. We'll see. If we get a dip off these levels, maybe we get VWAP in here. We'll play it by ear. This is the one I'm watching for the long trade. It looks pretty solid. As mentioned, I did get it back into ARM. Trail out, could have kept it a little bit tighter, but the way I see it, like sure, maybe the trail should have been down here at the quarters, but just because you should have trailed out here and trailed out there doesn't mean I'm not going to get back in 25 cents better than where I got out. Right? You're going to make sure you do that. And then if we stall out here in the 30s and 40s, going to get some out on the way to the low of the day. ARM is exactly the reverse of yesterday. It's weird. Sometimes the market does things like this where it's almost too obvious. Like the stock breaks out at 53.5, holds support, makes a run all day long to get to 56. I'm short. How could I have liked the short here at 56 and not shorted? Like, ask yourself that question. That's what I'm asking myself. Why was I not sitting down after liking the shorted arm at the end of the day here, kind of missing out on that, and then not just wanting to be short at the open? Join the party a little bit late. And I want to thank everybody in the chat who was yelling and screaming about ARM. Why aren't you short? Why aren't you looking at the short? Just short ARM. The market's up. The market's going up. ARM's going down. Eventually joined it, and it still worked. That's just how it is when you join the trend. Like, it's going to work a little bit easier than fighting it, but the same top, the same bottom, that's why I'm respecting and covering down at these lows in front of 53. And then once again, you rinse and repeat. So shout out to everybody that was, I mean, there was a lot. There was a few of you, at least, that were talking about this ARM being an absolute dog this morning. And truth is, you're not going to catch them all. You never will. Oh, you guys are doing that... I see you. I see what you guys do. I'm not dropping science. I'm dropping everybody else's science. Like, just make sure you join the trend if you can. Fighting the trend is a hard way to do business. Amazon did curl a bit, but it only went like 10 cents in the money and not that far. And I saw someone saying about GNS. Genius Brands isn't moving, is it? Am I going to fall for that trap? No, it's not. Yeah, sometimes you'll get me to look because GNS I know is at least around $1, and if you show me something around $1, everyone knows I'm going to get interested in a potential dollar breakout or a dollar rejection. It's a trade that I happen to like. So Femi still holding court. And when you're looking for Femi, there's a couple of ways you could have played this. I just felt as if the liquidity grab was a better way to go. But if you went long, simply went long at 3 and had a wide stop, let's just say you're not a scalp trader, you could have had a wide stop down around 275, and you still would have been in that trade. I don't like that because it's dropping from 350, and if it takes out $3, you start getting into halt potential territory. So I'd rather have a tight stop on that one. Market trying to roll over, but it's not that big of a move. It leads me right back into Micron. I want the VWAP dip. This is the stock outside of Femi, a small cap, that I want to the long side. I just wanted to dip in here and give us a better price. I'd rather not carry this into VWAP 40 cents away. I mean, you're about 50, 60 cents from the high of the day, but the market doesn't feel strong enough for that. So let's wait patiently for the dip buy. Don't have to force anything here. The reloads and the shorts are working. If you like a long, let it fall to your price.
Let it go, let it go.
Can't hold it back anymore.
Yeah, you can't. Dina Menzel. Okay, so... yeah, same old story, man. Same old story. AMD, nothing's really moving around, so let's try to find something else right now. Okay, Robinhood. Robinhood Friday pop incoming.
I was just trying to figure that one out myself, too.
Oh, you know what? Maybe he's talking about, some call buying into some of these other names. Because Robinhood...
yeah, not the stock.
Yeah, Robinhood really hasn't been doing too much. Actually, Robinhood up 1.1%. Not bad.
It doesn't really move
Not
much.
bad. Shout out to whoever that was. See, it doesn't take much to get our attention sometimes. Where was that?
Really
Robinhood. Do you like Pats at Cowboys? Okay, Cowboys. There it is. What's up, Kenny D?
No, we want. Well, okay.
We want the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we want everyone to be eliminated in the suicide pool.
Yes.
So that's why. Because we had the Cowboys last week, like lost half.
Thanks a lot, Dallas.
Now we're all in on Philly, which I think is the right play this week. And then we'll see what happens.
Well, because we can't take San Francisco. San Francisco is the obvious play this week. We just can't take them.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Okay, so Rivian, just trying to find some names that have like been moving around, right? I mean, we talked about actually buying Rivian the other day because of how well it was holding $20. That was when we were analyzing it, and we were just like, okay, we got to go long. It was, and I can find the day where we wrote it down here. I keep all the sticky notes, but it doesn't matter. I don't know why I keep them. And it was because there was that subscription model. We had bounced off of 20 already. And I think it was like a 22 long or something. So that's, turned out to be pretty good. Okay, so here we go. Apple just came in, right? So now we do have a much bigger position am I on Apple for you? Yes, so we just took an 08. Remember our stop is 15s. So, or average, so it's 10 cents right now. So yeah, a little bit of a pullback in for AAPL would be greatly appreciated if, there it goes. Okay, well, that didn't take long. There goes Apple, right back up to the upside. So that's why you have those real quick stops, man, on these names, because you never know where it's going to fly through to. And here we go. Was I just saying that I felt like there was like some calls coming through now, and then that there was looked like there was some strength in this market? Well, ifs and nuts, candies and butts, because we
Robin Hood bounce.
The Robin Hood bounce just happened right there.
Or the GE 3 o'clock buyer.
Yeah, I don't know. There is well, it's not quite 3, so he's a little bit early on that one, but yeah, 256 right now. So we got stopped out, so it's not even a fail for Apple. We're still positive on Apple. I mean, there's no problem there. It's just that last one. Remember, we started taking some out. We got filled at 171, some more outs there, 88s, 85s. So even though those were only 10%, we did wind up taking a chunk there, but then we got out. Noticing now that the 200 period is right there, but hey, if I was going to get stopped out of the 200, I guess I would have got stopped out anyways, right? Because there's the take up to 131 and change. So right now, I'll just put my hope in that AMD wants to make a move down now. So I'm bidding some 64s. We got to bid some 60s or so, and then hopefully we will get a move down on AMD. Can't believe I just said that because we tried to, AMD 1 for AMD.
Can't even say that.
Sharif mentioned that earlier. That's a crazy one.
I can't even
all right,
say
so we're going to bid some 60s and see if it comes back down. Into that level. Okay, a little bit of a flush, but we didn't have anything on the bid there to catch that. So I don't know what that was about there. Just flushed into the. What? I was bidding 60s there. Someone just marketed that down, and it stopped at 65. I feel like now we go upside. I'm stuck in this until we break 81s, which it looks like it's going to happen right now. Did you see that? Someone flushed it down. It was a marketable order. I don't know if it was a fat finger or not. For no reason there, it just whooshed down into 65 where it stopped. So the fact that it stopped there and the seller is not coming back, I feel like this stock goes higher. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee and hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I got stopped right at this local high on Amazon. Little bit of a breakout, hard stop pretty much on the wick. Sometimes at a reversal level, you don't want to get trapped at the bottom. Sometimes I'll give it like 5 extra cents. Not in this case. A lot of times I'll just put a lot tighter so you limit the loss. ARM did manage to go down, fill in this consolidation at 54.40. It's not really screaming as much as the rest. So I'm not going to close the book on reloading this one if it gets up tight to a triple top here on ARM. So it's, at least for now, if we fail 14.9 in the futures, ARM stays in the pocket, but we are at 14, essentially we're at 14.9 on the NASDAQ. That's right here, morning support. I mean, the overnight breakdown, you can see it, guys. So if we roll over here, I want something that I like to the south side. If we're just clean breaking out, I'm still thinking Micron should be one.
14,900.
Keeps going. But the problem is, that's exactly the issue.
Yeah.
Do you want to go long in something if we fail 14.9? It feels like we just made a turn. And I want something that is going to follow the market to the long side. I want it to be Micron. I'm not going to get the entry, it looks like, that I'm looking for. Femi doesn't care. The market go to 15,000. Femi's going to either, if Femi's getting to 350, it's because Femi things. Has nothing to do with what's going to happen in the market, but I'm looking for something which has an opportunity to follow that has relative strength. Like I'm looking for a long with relative strength that's not going to be one-to-one to the market, but has been strong. That's why I'm fixated on Micron here, because I was shocked by how strong it was, and I remember in the morning when I got more out here, like I was actually holding this short for a breakdown of VWAP thinking it's going to flood down underneath 67 when the market was crapping. And then there was something in the tape. It's like, no, get some more out at VWAP. If only it was enough to say this is now a strong stock, I probably look for that long. Shout out Adara actually mentioning, I think she liked this long right in here, which is the perfect entry on Micron. But that's just noticing breakout, support. Should have just looked at this. I got out of my short and said, forget it, that's not a short anymore today, without even thinking about the long. And now this one's off to the races along with the future. Super SPAC man, BNTX, that's moving today? BioNTech? We're still talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. I did know this, just I forgot for a second. Moderna and BNTX were both strong today. This isn't that bad. It might not care about what's happening with the NASDAQ, which can be a plus sometimes. So BNTX there, and along with Moderna, this is up 7%. 108.5 looks pretty good. Oh man, couldn't have said this 5 minutes ago. Look at this double bottom here at 108.5. That's where you want the long off of.
And the market's breaking out.
And the market is breaking out, but the volume's less than 1 million on this. What's Moderna saying? The problem is I've never really traded, I think I traded BNTX once, and I've traded Moderna a little bit more. The levels aren't as obvious on Moderna, although not bad off 103.5. Usually feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Alma Hamada saying Pfizer is doing it too. Pfizer ever along?
31.50 Google, 131.
Pfizer. Hey, Pfizer's at the high of the day. It is doing it too. Good for them. I want to dip buy though, not buying the highs.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so we got stopped out of AMD, which kind of thought that may happen right there. It's really, we tried it at VWAP. We tried it. It came back in. We got that 200 period. Then it came back out, and that's that. I'm looking here at the futures, and we are at a level right here again. So I'm wondering if this 14.9 is potentially a little bit of a fade zone there. And I was looking at Google. Google's still strong on the day. There's no doubt about that. Or no, sorry, Google was the weak one. That's what I was looking at. You're coming up into this level again for Google. So I don't know. What do we want to go short or long, man? I mean, it's like, I'm not certain on what the risk reward here is on some of these shorts, because I feel like you could fade right back down, but I don't want to, hinder the momentum. The momentum right now in the market is obviously to the strong side, where you just started making this beautiful bottom down there. I mean, if you took a shot, that's where you want to take it, right? But it's the same thing here. Like if you took a shot here, that looks pretty similar, nice bounce there, and you get the 14.9. That's 14.9 there. That's 14.820. So I could see why this is a little bit of a riskier position there under the 50 period, but you're still under it over here as well. I don't know. It's looking to me like we could fade this move now on the NASDAQ. So we should be finding something. You know what we could do? We could just go into the
Roblox
NASDAQ.
is strong.
Oh, that's what it was. Someone in the chat was like, yo, look at it. You have it up? Because someone, Roblox. There was a triple top there, and I meant to talk about it.
And it just broke it now.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I double checked, because the first thing I thought was when I saw Roblox breaking this high was, oh, do I need to make sure there's no news here? But I don't really see anything in particular today. Just zoom out and you can see local high on the daily, still room to go, 29.70 or so. So before you think about this is running out of steam, there's still about 60, 70 pennies from here till it gets to a level on the daily. The question is, can it hold on to this consolidation break? I don't necessarily want a 29 long, but if it shakes people out, here and can kind of hold 28.85, this could be a solid entry point for Roblox. I don't know if there's any story, but you guys let me know. Roblox coming to PS5 in 15 days.
Well, Roblox also had some agreement with Meta there and all that kind of stuff.
But that wasn't today.
No, that was MetaQuest.
Yeah.
But look at this, guys, right there. We just called this, so I'm glad that we went over into the TQs there. A little bit of a futures trade happening for me now on the NASDAQ. Wow, this is a monster futures trade. Little bit of a futures trade. There it is right there, 36 short on the TQs. Getting some out now, low 70s. Right now, move water bottle. Get out of my way. I got to see the screen. Nice little fade down in here for this. Look at this Google trade. Geez, man, this is exploding, going down to the downside a little bit more rapido than we had thought right there. So it's a nice trade for Google. Look at that. We just shorted this, man. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we're waiting for all day to happen, right? Is to catch one of these moves as it's happening. And there it was right there. Finally, it moved back upside. You know, sometimes you get the action, sometimes you don't, right? AMD, look at it now. So it's like it doesn't do it there. Obviously, there's the move down, but hey, I don't really care anymore about AMD. Look at Google. Google collapsing. We just talked about that. The NASDAQ collapsing. I mean, we're all of a sudden going to put right in here. I mean, that is a 40-cent move on Google immediately, and we have it all. We also have the whole damn move on the TQs right now as well. So let's go. A couple good ones, man, as we get more excited, because finally something coming into pay dirt right now on the short side, as we've been like pandering that all day, trying to get a move down in. So if Google can get these, let's take another piece out right now, just in case it starts to bounce up. We'll take an 87 fill. We just punched some out right there. Watching out for the market. We're actually out of half of this move now into the market. Came right back into this area. Now let's see if we're going to be right and actually hold that. But wow, a 14.9 failure there. Finally. And that's the thing. This is what I was talking about yesterday. It's like we could sit here and call these levels all day, but it's like I need to be in them, you know, and it's for me anyways. It's you got to wait, and I think Neil already said that today. It's like if a trade doesn't set up, you don't need to be in it. But like when it does set up, that's when you're supposed to be. And I was talking about that with Max the other day and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like when setups are there, you should be taking them, right? And so I just went over the TQs because of the work we did on the NASDAQ. So let's see, we're out of half. Maybe we'll get out of a little bit more, but that was a good move to the downside. We're out of 40% of Google as well.
I actually just covered ARM. It made the same lower high on that last wick in the futures, so it wicked down underneath. That's a higher low hold. I'm going to take it and run here. I actually was looking at Roblox. I did ask Brennan, by the way. I double-checked. I couldn't find anything that was today. He didn't find anything that was today for news. I was just looking to try to get that snap to the downside in front of 28.80. Looks like it's stalled out there at 28.86. This is obviously a relatively strong stock. Let's see what happens. Rivian, by the way, thank you, Super Spec, man. I did want to mention this. It's pretty darn close to 28.50, so 24.50. Roblox is at 28, so sorry. Like you go from one stock and then come to Rivian, Roblox is 28, this is 24. But 24.50 double top, usually it's like let it get right to that level, but I might want something. You know, they say wet the beak. I know we've probably said that way too much.
No.
Like, you used to say that every now and then, and all of a sudden now it's like every 5 minutes. But wetting the beak would be getting a little fill in here underneath 24.40. And then looking for the push to 24.5. And if you're wondering why would you like the short, if I like the dip buy in Roblox, relatively strong stock, why would I like the short in Rivian at these prices? It's because of this on the daily. Just all kinds of resistance this month at 24.5. When it breaks 24, cannot seem to get any further than 24.5. So this power move to the upside, if we're failing 14.9, I did miss this after doing lunch money. Let's hope to not get it. You're not always wanting to chase trades. Don't chase the mistrade. Just try to take the next setup. Like chasing the mistrade would have been me like shorting it when I sat back down here at 2 o'clock or trying to short it down here thinking it's going to continue the move. No, the short to me was off the 24.50. If I'm going to lose on it, I'm losing through 24.50 on a short of Rivian. And by the way, Femi's still holding 325. If by 3:30 this thing is still only 20 cents in the money, I'll probably tighten the stop up because the later it gets going into a Friday. With these low float runners, I always feel like there's a better chance it's going to continue running like right up into the close if it's earlier in the week. On a Friday, I'm less wanting to hold it into the close, thinking that anyone that bought it early in the week is probably looking to take some profit themselves too.
I want to give a big shout out to my lovely wife who just said, great trade on the TQ. So thank you so much. Marissa, I love you and thanks for watching and thank you to continuously supporting me every single day. So without her, I don't have anything. So I want to give a big shout out to that. So thank you so much for that. And again, there it is, right? It's like sometimes it's hard to congratulate trades, but obviously the wife watching. So thank you so much for that one as we continue to go. All right, so we have 2 shorts on, but the market's not necessarily tanking. I just want to give another update there. We got another piece out. So we only have 40% of our TQ trade and half of the Google trade. So, yeah, funny. My wife's saying that she's not hitting the like button until the very end. So, okay. Thank you for that. At least you're going to hit it. But there we go. We'll watch out 130.90 coming into play there. We need to find something else. We talked about what, Klaviyo, one of those recent IPOs. Shopify was involved with them. I think it was 10% or so holdings they have of it. Let's go market. Come on, TQs. Let's go. Get down to the downside right now. But Shopify, as I look at it, I want to look at it on another time frame up here as well. Let's zoom back out just to see. So still up. So that's a good one, man. Still up 3%. And you see this 55. Again, if you like the short, maybe that is a good little spot to do exactly that on Klaviyo. On Shopify, 55, a good level. Come on, let's go. Let's go. If we can get this down to the downside right now. And this is what I'm saying. And shout out to you, Natalia. Yo, shout out to Paul Milligan right there. He got money bag right there. So if you're part of our, first of all, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Oops, not that one. Hola.
Like and subscribe today.
Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's go. You can become a member of our chat. It's completely free. Just subscribe, open up the chat, and then we spin this right there. So a shout out to Paul Milligan right there, and a shout out to everybody else who's watching, man. Let's go. There it is right now, man. We are getting excited. And that's what I was saying to Natalia there. She said, like, great trade, but she didn't take it. On some of these, you don't have to take everything that Neil and I trade, obviously. I've traded too many symbols today, probably. CCL still, actually, these TQ is probably going to be the number one trade now for me, but CCL is still there, and that was an early one, right? So you got to be careful with what exactly I'm doing. But at the same time, you mentioned that you didn't have, for a better word, you used it balls maybe to take the trades. My advice for that is obviously, you're probably trading a live account. Just take less shares, right? And so you can try it out. Or if you were going to make an options play, maybe we're trading live equity and we have to be flat at the end of every single day. So that's another thing that maybe a lot of you don't have to be. But it would be just take like one contract instead of four, or whatever your sort of thing is. Because until you're confident in the trade and what you're looking for, then do that, right? And I think Neil used different terminologies, and I'm not going to use it again. He already described it, but just getting into something light doesn't mean that you have to, something about a beak. You don't have to get in right away full load. And that's why you always hear me talk about that. It's like, oh man, I don't have enough shares on. It's because I like the idea, but it wasn't at like a peak entry. I think that makes sense. So that's the kind of stuff that I'll battle with every day. And sometimes it's like we don't have enough shares on for a big move. But right now we're going to hold out a little bit for this. And we did get it while we were talking. And Google just flew down there. Look at that. And that's another tip for everybody, man. Trading tips. First of all, you can go find some on my Instagram and on Twitter, I think, X. But you don't get filled unless you put orders out. So there it is. There's the 50 period. There's a trade out. We still want to hold this into the close. Although, honestly, I was thinking, Neil,
TLT's tanking.
TLT, okay, so that's good. So hopefully the market continues to go down with it. But I almost felt like there was a rebound coming in this market. We got stopped out of our Apple, we got stopped out of our AMD, but we were able to find a few other ones. And we're going to be at our highest spot we've been at all afternoon here right now, but that's because of our last two trades.
Well, the NASDAQ did bounce off 14.8. It just got to 14.9 and found resistance.
Bounced again.
So, like it bounced. It's an obvious level, so it gets there and it goes that 100 points, but it's still struggling to go green on the day. Well, sorry, hold green on the day. And you can say wet the beak. It's a term that makes a lot of sense. That's why we use it. I think part of why I like it is it does sort of describe something which I think is a little bit, it's intuitive a lot of times. Like you're not at the perfect entry point where you have 100% confidence, but you have a reason to get into a trade. So maybe you just take a tenth. It's like dollar cost averaging into something. Well, I don't know if I love Mobileye at these levels, but I'll take a tenth of a position that I want. Like if you want like 10 grand in something, you buy $1,000 worth at this price, reevaluate next quarter. With a day trade, it can be, well, we're not above 24.40 on Rivian, but I'll wet the beak here, and then if I start to like it a little bit better, I can add to get a full position off the high, like that kind of a thing. So I'm in this consolidation on Rivian. What's the next thing? Scaling is a key concept, Lava News. Scaling is kind of like the normal way to say it. We're trying to always have a little bit of fun here, but scaling in the position is that's literally what you're actually doing. Scaling, even dollar cost averaging is just a form of scaling into position. And because you might not have full confluence until you see several factors line up, and then you want to be all in.
I don't know where you got that one from.
I was trying, you know what's funny about that? Is I don't know if you guys could tell, I was trying to work confluence into that whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, there we go. I can get confluence in there because we haven't hit the word of the day very often. And shout out to Obi, that is definitely his, which I am stealing. Roblox, okay, it did the wick to 2885, so not to 2880, but to 2885. But it still feels like we're headed back down in here. I'm not necessarily feeling like I like the dip buy just yet. You're still looking a little bit heavy on Roblox. And then Micron was the other thing, which felt like a decent long. Maybe I got to stop. I keep thinking I want VWAP, right? Like this isn't really moving much, so I should get away from Micron. Femi, as I said, my stop is now at break even. It's no longer at 290. I don't want that going anywhere near that 290 level while I'm still in it because I think it could wado to the downside. Oh yeah, NVIDIA, that's what I wanted to check out. I knew there was something we were forgetting. NVIDIA, close. Is that a real wick? I hope not. NVIDIA, look at the, so this is 437.
It might be, man.
Support, resistance, rollover. If that's a real wick, then that was a huge missed opportunity. Because look at it, breaks 36, gets right to 37, and then flushes. That is exactly what you're looking for in a reversal candle. I wasn't watching, so it's hard for me to tell if it's a dark pull wick. I didn't have the level 2 up to see if it actually got to that price. But man, that would be a good entry off like maybe 436.5. Let's see how it responds if it gets back up there. And I keep seeing this CFFE being put into the chat. Not one that I have looked at. This is a SPAC, isn't it? I don't know the story here, so I don't want to say nothing to see here because obviously the stock is a mover today, but I don't know the story. I just see it's one of those acquisition companies. So I'm assuming some kind of a deal got announced for a conversion and it halted a bunch of times early. It got going again, decent break off 25. I can tell you right now the volume is bad. 500,000 shares worth of volume on a $25 stock, and Adara said she didn't like spreads that are too big. Well, this is a no-fly zone. Come to level 2. This is a 100% no-fly zone. 25 bid, 25.79 ask, and you're talking about 100 shares on either side. Like someone making the spread there now 48 with 100 shares. This is not very tradable. You can swing stocks like these. Like just for a day trader, can't do it. Because you're not really, like what you're able to do on say Femi off a $3 level, you can't really do that off 25 here. Because if it breaks this consolidation, first of all, that consolidation is 24.20. So a long in front of 25 is $1 worth of risk. You just saw a 70-cent spread. So that's almost $2 worth of risk if it breaks that level. And it might actually be worse than that if you're using more than a minimum share size lot. You could just be out in a halt to the downside. So swing trading, maybe you can do that. I don't think you can day trade something like that. We always talk about.
Did you mention the float there?
Oh, I didn't even check.
Brendan gave it to us 750. That's
750,000.
Yeah.
Why is this even in the?
That might be one of the reasons.
750,000 float.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely allowed, of course. I find like this some of this stuff is too much, man. Honestly,
it's stupid. This never used to. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't.
Yeah, it never used to happen like this. But I mean, now there's more information, there's more knowledge. People have sort of seen that dumb money, and they've seen like how a lot of this can be played out, right? And I just feel like that is what's happening, right? All these stocks just getting played out. It's the same play over and over again until someone eventually gets burned. And hopefully, by watching the show, a lot of us have known that if it's a short squeeze, with lack of a real catalyst other than the amount of shares outstanding, it's not necessarily a trade that you're going to want, right? So it's great for the next couple days, most likely. So watch out for CFFE. Yeah, it is a flip over there from a SPAC. So, all right, the TQs just came right back again. Whoopsies. We just got right there at the 200 period. It came back in. We got 70s again. So again, patience pays on this one. As we let it rip up, we got stopped out of some of our other trades, but we noticed this 36 level, which was the drop-off zone there into this pain trade to the downside. So we'll take a fill there and see what's happening. Google's still doing nothing. I did want to look at Meta because it dumped down to $3 bills today, but then sort of got bought back up. So let's try to be patient on this one and see if we can wait for 3 bills to hit again on Meta. So that could be something. You see this 200 period moving average as well. That's 302.60. So maybe that comes into play. And if you hit that, see, that's the difference. Like I hit Google, right? Like look at Google, the same trade off the 200. Same trade, same time. It went down, and I know it's a $300 name versus a $100 name, so definitely. But Google, I'm in the money 20 cents, right? That Meta play, you would have, if you had that 302.60, it went down to 301, so you would have got $1.60. Now that's the ultimate bottom, so you know, don't take that for what it's worth, or take that for what it's worth. It's just Meta with the recent news, a lot more aggressive. Google seems to want to hang out.
Absurd range Meta today.
Absurd, right? I mean, all the time.
It's absurd.
Like we were long Meta early. It was actually, okay, so we are slightly down on Meta today, but good thing we got out of the way. Look at that break of like 306. Just continues, man. Did Pfizer just, I think Pfizer might have just got some medical clearance there on one of
having a good day.
One of their 50 COVID booster shots that you could have right now. So Pfizer, yeah. Holding fort right now. Looking at, this is probably a good take, man, right there. Take that top, 33.20. That's probably a good break into the close if you like the long. Pfizer, 33.20.
Just a heads up, I was going to move my stop up again on Femi, and then right as I hesitated to do it, it broke down, held $3, so my original stop did hold, but my intention in that moment was to cancel a 3 stop and get out underneath 310 because this was looking very heavy. So I end up just getting out here at 305, right? The second it kind of pulled back in and bounced off the $3, I'm out. It feels like it's really, really heavy here. And when I say heavy, I just mean like the sell action is stronger than the buy action. I don't know if that's obvious, but that's what it is. Roblox, I did eventually take the dip buy on Roblox. There we go. And now it really seems to want VWAP. I don't know.
Come on, Google.
Like I waited patiently for this to get down into the 80s, picked it up at 84, and almost feel as if I should have waited for it to bounce. What I'm going to do is get out tight to like 70, like 77 or something, risk less than 10 cents, because I didn't really wait for the bounce on this one. And I never picked up a short that wasn't Rivian, which I don't mind sitting in the Rivian short. I'm just looking for it to slowly roll over. If the futures resolve lower, I think Rivian can get to the get to the VWAP.
To the super chat.
I know. I just saw Bears versus Bulls say D. Westermeyer super chatted $1.99. Neil, I'll bet you dinner when I come. Dolphins win. Okay, you're gonna come to Toronto? Yeah, sure. Mr. Westermeyer, 100%. So we got the Magic 8-ball from Mr. Westermeyer. I don't want to put that out because I'm not asking the 8-ball whether the Bills are going to beat Miami this weekend because the Bills are going to win. I don't need a Magic 8-ball to know that.
That's in Buffalo, though, right?
I mean, look, dinners. If you come to Toronto, Mr. Westermeyer, then you will have to buy me dinner when the Bills win, and I have no issues with that. We can go. We don't. Whatever. You can even pick the spot, but on the off chance that God forbid, Diggs gets hurt or maybe Josh Allen has a cold or something like that, and Miami lucks out a win, then I will definitely take you out to dinner if you come to Toronto. It's obviously that's not going to happen. I think we all know that because the Bills are the best. But yeah, if it does, I'm down with that, man. You guys know I'm going to back my Bills pretty much any single time. That's how I roll. Big game, don't care. 70 points last week, definitely don't care. Doesn't matter. We got J.A., we got Diggs.
When does Von Miller come back? That'll be nice.
Last I heard, he wasn't ready, and I don't think they want to force. They don't want to force it. You don't want to force it with Von Miller. He's not. He's not young anymore. You want him for the playoff run. The team badly misses him. Could we use him against Miami? Okay, yep. I can admit that they're the best offense in the NFL. We probably could use our best defensive player, but that's fine. Oliver will be okay. We'll be good. I ain't worried about my Bills, baby.
We just got a note that there is leftover lunch, and today's lunch was actually.
You didn't have any?
I did. I had one or two of them. They're okay. I mean, I prefer them a little bit more on the crispy side.
I was saying that. Who was I saying that to?
I don't know, but it was. I mean, normally we do this. Normally we do this at 11 o'clock so that you can look forward to lunch. But hey, it's lunchtime somewhere. If you're on the West Coast right now, it's 12 o'clock. Not bad.
Lunchtime somewhere.
Anyways, I don't have the note here, but I'll just normally I'm reading it when it says bar fried chicken wings is what it was today. So I don't know how to say that more elegantly, but I felt like they were more just baked. I feel like they were the baked ones.
They weren't bar fried.
No, they weren't. But they were pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. It came with what A honey garlic sauce?
There was a honey garlic, and then the other one was just Frank's Hot.
Was it just Frank's
Yeah,
hot? I don't actually.
Which to me is
People
not hot.
hate on Frank's hot. No, I agree. It's not hot sauce, but
not
I don't
hot
mind
sauce.
it though. Actually, on wings, I think it's.
It's
actually
not bad for
pretty
flavor.
good. Or if you put a little bit on pizza, just for generic. It's not.
Oh yeah, actually, Frank Hot's on pizza. I
Yeah.
really don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
But
what was the side? Oh, sliced wedged potatoes.
it was like wedge potatoes, which was,
small potatoes.
They were okay.
Small new potatoes.
you guys all saw me. If you watched the midday show, then you saw when Fabian and Ramin thought it would be a good idea to put me on camera while I'm eating chicken wings.
Oh, is that what it was?
The thing is, like, these are our actual, like, Sean and I sit, like, these are our desks. We don't have other desks that we go to. So when we're trading in the middle of the day or we have to eat our lunch, we're doing it here.
Yeah.
And there's cameras all around us. So every now and then, they tend to think that it's a good idea.
If that happens to me, the unemployment line is going to be a little longer.
I'm just saying, it's funny because when I'm eating, my face always seems to come on the camera when I'm eating food, and I don't ever see it happen to Sean.
I just
gonna
told
throw
you
that out
why. But no.
What were we- there was something else.
We love Ramin.
BDK, try Frank's extra hot. No, it's nothing about, like, for me.
Frank's extra hot. Yeah,
Frank's-
there is a hotter one.
I know, but that's not like in my
I like piri
in
piri
my
sauce.
books. Like hot sauce is on a hot sauce.
Shout out to my
Like,
Portuguese
Frank's Hot is not.
Oh no,
ever
it's
doing
tasty.
it.
I
It's just a taste
It's
thing.
vinegar.
It's okay.
It's
It ain't hot.
spicy vinegar. I don't know.
Even their extra hot ain't that
Everyone
hot.
knows about Frank's.
You know what's up.
Shout out to Frank, by the way, Mr. Frank Caberna. Hey, next time he's on, I'm going to ask him about Frank. I'm going to ask him about the hot sauce because he probably created
It's
it.
his friend.
Yeah, it's probably his. He probably has it. He probably has some sort of patent, like Coach Prime. You know, Coach Prime. He has "Don't f with this." He has all these new slogans that he's trying.
Although apparently
So now we'll see what's
you
happening.
can mess with him.
Yeah, you can. He's going to get messed with this week too by USC. But okay, so
They'll get the horses next year. Next couple.
they'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean it's just a brand new
I mean, better
program.
players. You know what I mean when I say that. I'm not actually referring to athletes as horses, but
Well, you kind of were.
no,
But
they didn't get the defensive recruits.
no,
if you know college
it's
football.
year one.
It's year one. I think
Let's wait to
it's
see
still
what
a good
happens,
story.
man. I know there'll be a lot of players that will want to play there. So, I don't think recruiting hopefully will not be too much of a problem. But shout out to everybody in Colorado. It's really fun, I guess, happening all around there. But okay, Oregon really spanked them. All right, so there's the move down. We'll take another fill. Why? Because at the 50-period moving average. Now get the hell down. This is a futures trade that we have on board, man. This is going to be a good one. We shorted the top of the NASDAQ there on that bump. And look what's happening now. What goes bump in the night? Google goes bump in the night. Nice move to the downside here for Google. Let's put a bid and just take it, man. We'll bid some 70. See, that's the problem. I bid instead of punch out. We're bidding 74s now. Hopefully that will come in. And there it goes, man. A couple good trades given to you here on the after show, on the afternoon show. So hopefully that still continues to print out. And there it is right there. Yes, sir. We grabbed the 74s there. So make sure you like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe today.
Oh man, this is, I'm pretty exhausted here, but we do have after the show, we're gonna have one more show for you, the recap show where we'll go over what a wild day it's been in the market. I do wanna talk about some of the earnings plays with Nike. We'll review one of the trades I made today. You guys can pick it or I'll find one. Maybe it's these TQs. We're gonna talk to Michael Noss today as well. So I wanna talk to him about some plays.
Oh yeah,
what
we're
he's
supposed to look
looking
at a firm. Just
Go ahead, yeah.
no, remember we were supposed to look at a firm. A
Yeah,
firm
what
was
his
having.
play?
I think
21 long, wasn't it?
I don't know that it set up the break
Right.
for him.
I'll ask him.
But I know he was looking at a long. I don't know if it set up the entry point, but it certainly was a long off of like this general area. Like if you look at the 20 holding, I don't know if he was in the at 21, giving it to 23, or if he needed it to close above 21, which it still could do, and then buy the close today. That could be a way to get into a swing trade. That's the thing about day trading versus swing trading. Like if you were going long on a firm off of these levels, well, you were just taking the break this morning, and that obviously did work. I don't know if he's taking a morning breakout because he's not a day trader, but if you were, it almost got to 23 on that one move, but I don't know if the swing trade set up. Either way, it's still a good look.
Yeah.
We'll see if Roblox's a good look. The shorts have definitely been better. Like every winning trade except for Femi has been a short this afternoon. What's funny is every time we say it, like there was a guy we went to high school with that I haven't seen in years that was a heck of a chess player. When we used to play chess, it was weird. Like I would play dominoes and hearts for money and chess in high school in the cafeteria sometimes. And Femi was a heck of a chess player, kind of a bit of a hustler. But now it's a stock, and hopefully Roblox can bounce off VWAP like Femi did. But here we go. It's basically flat, but the market's been heading back in. Rivian gave me one fill and is now headed right back to the upside. I'm not feeling a reload at 329. We're getting close. We're going to get the early look on the imbalances. I don't know
that's right.
I don't know if I want to reload on the short just yet. I think we back off that at least for now. But I will take anything out I can get into the 29 flat level on Roblox here. If I'm giving it into VWAP, it's about 7 cents worth of risk. So if it goes, once it gets past 90, I gotta get some out in front of that 90 or 29 even dollar level. Oh yeah, we were gonna look at NVIDIA. The problem is, even if that short sets up again on NVIDIA, which it's not, I don't know if I want it at this particular time. I could rather see the number, let it press closer to 350 before I short resistance. And anyways, NVIDIA is not getting anywhere close to that 437. If that was real, that's the kind of wick, if you're looking for a short off the 37 level or VWAP, that's the kind of wick that you want to get in on. I don't know if it wasn't just a dark pool one, however. Taking care of business, I don't know why you're spamming the chat, but let me know. There's a lot of pluses in there. Not sure what's up with that. Someone got hacked? I don't know.
Someone got hacked. Yo, shout out to Matt Carnes messaging me on X earlier. I did miss it. He said, why was SoFi... Matt, are you here anyways? I haven't seen him in the chat. I guess maybe he is, maybe he's not. He's always on the after show. He said, why was SoFi not on your sticky note today? And it's kind of like, there are many names to look at every single day, and it's not an excuse. We should be looking at them all, about a checklist, I guess. I don't know, and I think that he said that there are some key levels here. So, hey, there's Matt. What's up, my guy? He's in there. So I'm just talking about the message that you sent me on X today. Why not SoFi? So let's just pretend like the market hadn't opened yet, and I was going to look at SoFi. Well, I mean, so 830, I guess maybe it's this level that we are interested in, 835. But again, I can open up a lot of stocks and find levels like that. We just touched it right there. Today's the 29th, right? So that was a good move off the open. Maybe some dip buy opportunities in SoFi, but honestly, SoFi is not going to come to my attention probably until 750-ish down there, or even on the upside, I don't know. But I guess maybe it's the 790 level, $8-ish that you were worried about there, Matt. But I don't know. It didn't look super exciting to me. So, and here's what we've done so far today. Huge move to the top. There's that 835. And again, I could see if that's what sort of you were getting at right there. But yeah, not much happening for SoFi for me until we get down to that 750 level. So again, a name that I'll trade. But if you are looking for a checklist or things like that, I have it right now on Instagram. If you come over at TraderTV Sean, and it's, whoopsies, go backwards. It's the ultimate trade prep checklist. A little tongue twister there, and it's just talking about, you know, what you're looking for, I'm looking for in a trade. So risk to reward. There's 7 of these as you go. So all this kind of stuff, and this one is really the most important for me every single morning, and that's why I get the watch list on tradertv.live, where Brendan and crew and everybody puts a lot of work into bringing you the best stories out there, and then it'll be up to us and up to everybody to sort of analyze how that will fit your trading plan, and that's where you sort of go through that checklist, right? So again, thank you for the continued support. If you haven't signed up for that, do it right now. It's watchlist.tradertv.live, and it is the very cool price of free.
It's amazing.
Have that, and it just gives you some names, right? Like today, I guess I could go find
free is. It's almost like Trader TV Live should just be like Trader TV free.
Almost like we should be charging something for the watch.
Trader TV free is how we roll. We don't charge you guys for anything, but we do. Look, we do ask that you. We ask that you enjoy the show. We ask that you learn something. We ask that you have a passion for trading. All the stuff that the community already has out there. We love you guys. The early look did come out.
Oh, okay.
It was 442 million. So that's the other thing. We'll pass on information that we see, which we think is relevant. Whether or not, you know, you have to pay for it or not, who cares? But I saw Scarjo Rabbit and a few others mentioning it. Small sell imbalance, not gigantic, but it does matter. SoFi, it's interesting. Like, how is it going to...
something that you like on
How
SoFi?
could it barcode at 8 this much? No, I was actually saying 790. Like, I know it's at $8, but the 790 was a flat bottom break. I just feel as if it's not really anything for right now, but above 790, I think you can shoot longs, and if it fails 790 next week, I think you shoot for the short. The range in here gives you about 4 or 5% to get down to 750, so that's not really that bad. But I'd rather it hold this area, the previous flat bottom break, and rally into the 50 period. I think the long off this little bottom looks more interesting, but we'll see. That's one of those that sets up. We talked about it during lunch money, but it never broke. The long scalp trade worked, but that's not available now.
Right.
And it was off the 790 level. Sometimes you get anchored to $8, but 790 was the key level before. It was the key level at the open. That was your one chance to just go long off 790. Going back over to a couple of things here, Rivian kind of pulling back. Not really flushing off VWAP, but the market's not flying. It's kind of slowly pulling back. So I think the short is a little bit safer. As I mentioned, Roblox, we got the dip, maybe a little bit too early. It then held 28.75, added here at 81, got some when it popped in, trying to get to 90, got to 89. Now I'm just thinking if we get back to 89 or 29 even, we just get it all out because it doesn't feel like the kind of last 30 minutes that's blowing out in either direction, and if I had to pick one that it was going to blow out, it would be to the downside. So if I can catch any bounce into the high, I'll be happy with this on Roblox here. The range is 25 cents this afternoon, so you got to temper your expectations a little.
I have it right here.
These guys, just for everybody, Fabian's like walking around like, what is that clicking sound? Sean is literally holding a click pen right now.
Yeah, but I don't think, was this what it is, Fabian? No, okay.
Oh, it wasn't that?
I'm doing it on purpose now so we can listen for it. Do you still hear it?
No, you guys
It's
aren't
gone
seeing
because I
it.
stopped doing this, bro.
Sean is clicking a pen, and it's freaking them out that there's this weird
I'll
click
just stop.
happening. I don't know if
feel
you guys
like
hear
that is
it.
what it was, but we're looking for it.
Wow,
so.
that's hilarious.
Mark is here now, so everything will settle down, and we'll figure out what this magical clicking sound is. And hey, if it magically has stopped now, Fabian, I have put down my pen, so there's a little bit of a, God. Now Ramin's involved.
But you can see him clicking the pen.
Okay, who cares? Who cares?
I know, it's like, what happened to the position?
I won't.
board?
I just won't. Exactly. Who knows what's happening?
I am still
anymore.
long,
Well, at least it's
28.81
almost-
Roblox.
At least it's Friday.
Whatever.
You know,
It is Friday.
Friday. And the market's going down. I mean, these shorts that we're holding are still in the money, and they're still doing quite fine. It's just, I'm not willing to enter anything new right now. So if there's anything you guys want me to look at as we get ready for that closing show, please bring it to our attention, and we will talk about it. One thing I want to talk about was don't call it a comeback right now, because oh my God, Palantir was a disaster for me early, as was a lot of things trying to catch bids, okay? And then I'm gonna sound like a broken record to myself, and that's fine, but it's like you gotta wait and be patient. We kept on thinking like, okay, where was there gonna be some levels here on Palantir? And we kept trying, and I mean, I can even load it up here on that. Well, actually, it's not gonna. We have that wick, so forget about it. As Palantir was coming in, we were, and now VWAP is all over the place. It's almost like I need a tick replay to show you guys this. But you know, I was trying to defend VWAP. I was trying to do this 50 period, everything coming through, right? But then eventually it fell back in, and the only level that apparently meant anything was 16 flat. So sometimes it's like we put on our CMT hat and you're like, okay, it should reject off this level or that level or this level. But at the end of the day, it was just a rejection or support of 16 bucks. It broke one time, and we didn't even have that many shares left. So it's like it came back in here. We bought 1611s, boomed it all the way to the upside, got out some in the 30s, majority of them out here 30. So that's like 20 cents. So that was well done 1-to-1. Then it came back in again. We took that fill. Then for some reason, I feel like that was a bad out there because we got out at 1607. I'm not sure why. Maybe because that was that low tick. Well, that is why. It's because it was the low of the day at that time. So we get out, but look what happens again. It bounces off 1605, retraces to the 200 period, 20 pennies. Then it comes back in, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. Trick me once, right? Not again. Comes back in, and we long it right there again. I'm like, all right, let's see if 16 holds, and it does. And this was a big trade. So we actually made back pretty much everything on Palantir. Okay, almost flat on that stock on the day. We are going to be slightly down, but we made a lot back just on that move alone. So there it goes back up to the upside, 1640, and then eventually it took 16 and we got out. So this trade, like for risk to reward, buy 1605. Most of our outs are right here, 1625, 1620s. So we took 20 cents because, again, that's where it stopped last time. Hold some for the dream, then hold some for the stop. But that's interesting. We'll look at $16 for those of you that were asking for some more plays. We'll look at $16 on Palantir. Not now.
That was the lunch money level.
Exactly. So that held. That was a great level.
You know what's hilarious? I'm surprised, Pillsbury, that you remembered that about Amazon and the closing price. I did sort of run my mouth about Amazon randomly closing at the exact same price for 3 days in a row, which I have never seen happen. A stock like this, I mean, a stock that's $10 could close at $10 3 days in a row, but 125.98 3 days in a row, you close at the same price on Amazon. I said if we close there today, I'm taking a lap around the block. It's a joke from high school. Something crazy would happen. You had to do a lap. So thankfully, there was a point that I was really worried about it, that it was going to happen here, because I really don't want to have to run. But yeah, it's a closing to the upside. We're bouncing here. I just got out of Roblox. We're going to go to Brennan in a quick second, but I did just get out of Roblox as it popped to 95s there. I wasn't feeling it was going to get to 29. I was just saying I felt the short was better, so I'm holding on to Rivian as we go to the desk.
I've been looking around for anything on this. Haven't found anything, but Groupon doing some squeezy type things here into the close on Friday.
Like that's an official call, like a squeeze, you know, so squeezy type things there on Groupon. Thanks, Brendo, for that. Let's just have a quick look ourselves and see if we see, whoa, okay. For some reason, I have lost my trade ideas.
Hang on, I can get it.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I'll have to open it back up, and that's that details page there. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea where it is right now, just to see what the short float is. Oh, you got it?
35%.
Okay, so.
That's squeezy.
Question answered.
35%.
Right there, 35%. So there goes Groupon.
That'll
How
work.
does this company still exist? It would be my first question, but it's
Songs.
existing. No, but it's not just that. Like it's been holding, it's been going. I just feel like Groupon, like really. I mean, it used to be. I feel like it was a thing maybe 15 years ago where it was like everyone was like, "Oh, did you grab that Groupon for like free bowling or like you know? Oh, there's a Groupon out about you know, buy one game, you
know
get
how
the
they
other one
exist?
free."
They can probably sell a bunch of data. Like they're
Yeah,
making
it's like
they're
an
making
Instacart.
money. They're making money selling data like Instacart. That has to be the case. How else is it up 5x from the bottom?
Well, this is what I'm trying to find out right now. But I guess Brendan's looking as
Anybody
well.
here knew this was up 5x from the middle of the year? No chance people knew that.
Anyone own Groupon in the chat?
Well, I guess we own it.
Let's just be perfectly honest. But I guess that now that you're thinking about it, Groupon, I mean, it could just be electronic, like just be digital. You know,
Yeah,
like
no,
you don't,
it makes
I mean, it's always been digital. You used to print off those little vouchers, I guess, for the Groupon.
Oh yeah, the weekly chart. This is what we should always do. Let's not just only show how great it's been the last little bit. Let's show
Right.
the weekly chart as well. Just so we get, this is why we're sort of saying, does anybody own Groupon? Does anyone realize it's up 5x? It's because the weekly chart looks this bad. And it's not alone. There's worse, Mullen. But there's definitely other stocks that are, I mean, Virgin Galactic, where you want to go with this, Silvergate.
Oh, no, well,
Right? Like there's
Silvergate is
a lot
literally
worse.
bad.
I was trying to think of the worst companies that I could think of, and the two of them were Silvergate and Mullen. I'm sure there's something else you guys could point to, but still up 5x from the middle of the year. Good for them.
Yeah, great for them. I'm just surprised, but it's nice to see the 30%.
35?
That is
This could be something.
explanation there on that run. But if there's no news and that is just a fade, then that's exactly what I'd be doing, fading it. That play.
We'd have to
again.
pay for locates, though.
Okay, meanwhile, we can trash talk Groupon all we want, but it's a nice move down for Google, so we have that. Now that's 50 cents in the money finally going. And then, man, oh man, we hit this futures pretty good there as I was like, what's up with that? Nice move up there on the futures, and we felt like we got stopped out of one of our plays, but not this one at all, as there it comes back in right now. I think taking the number 2 spot overall on the net today would be the TQQs. Number 1, actually, it's Apple and TQQs and then CCL. We've already talked about CCL there as well. So Amazon, I have over 400 fills today, which is absolutely crazy. Enron was many, many moons ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about something that's still that existed this year.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, when we make that
Silvergate
comment.
is gone, right? I mean,
I know, but like that happened this year.
Oh, I mean,
So,
there
like,
was all those banks, First
yeah,
Republic.
but they weren't as bad as Silvergate. None of them flushed.
well, SIVB
on a percentage?
was $350 to literally zero.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're
Okay,
all the
fine.
same. I mean,
SIVB, they're all the same.
when you go from 5 cents to 0,
Yeah.
you lose 100% of your money.
Although I'm pretty sure mathematically, I think we looked this up, and like CEI is just hands down.
Oh, wow, CEI.
Mathematically, the answer to the question is CEI. And if you guys, if you can prove me wrong on that one, then I'd love to hear it. But I'm pretty sure it's CEI. It's came from Amazon, man.
What's up to Chimps?
By the way,
right
just
there. What's up to Ben Reggiano, my paisan?
2420 on Rivian's finding support, so we're getting some out in front of 2420. It's not random. This is where it broke out from the morning. So the consolidation short working. It was a much better trade if you got it right at lunchtime. As mentioned, middle of the day, Bed Bath & Beyond, Damakai. There's a million of these bad boys out there. Can we cover Shopify? Yes, we can. I got one position left, and I got my stop in, and we have 5 minutes till the imbalances. So Shopify, why not? Load.
You looked at Shopify, it was up 3% at one point. Yeah, there it
It's
is.
still up 3%. It's not doing much this afternoon, but hey, that happens. If you look at this one, it's a decent double bottom bounce. I'm trying to figure out how much carry through this is going to have, because there's a few stocks that have bounced nicely off the 200 period moving average. AMD was a good example, then kind of pulled back. But this is a big level here. When you bounce off the 200 like this, I'm usually thinking, okay, it holds 50s. We're going to get back up here to test the 50 period at like 59 or 60. The market today is not really helping things, but relative strength in Shopify, not bad. But I still feel like this is exactly the kind of stock that if we're still headed, which I do think, we're still headed for more of a pullback, I'd be looking at it fades off the 50 period and then continues to move into the downside. But the 200 period bounces work really well. I don't think anything more clean than what AMD did off the 200 period moving average. That was gorgeous. Like right off 95, base out for a couple of days, wick underneath, and then hold the next day, and then shoot right up. Clean move, almost $10 in a couple of sessions for AMD. Obviously aided by the move in yesterday and the news by Microsoft or the comments by Microsoft, but the 200 period comes into play on a lot. I kind of felt Rivian might have been headed down toward that as well, but Rivian decided, who cares? We're just going to bounce off 20 even.
All right. I like that Rivian. I think Rivian's a buy down there, man. I know my wife's watching. She just messaged me again. She wants that R1T, so, oh man.
So all you got to do.
That's not even what she messaged me.
Buy the next dip to 20.
I am. I'm going to.
You got to go off.
I'm going to like reverse mortgage and everything, put the house up there. Let's go Rivian, baby.
What were we supposed to
Let's
mortgage?
go.
That was it. We're supposed to mortgage everything to buy the SPY at 420.
Yeah.
I remember
I'm
that.
going to do all of that, man. Next time.
Mark, for real, that's what we were told this morning.
Mark did it, man. That's why he's retiring in the next couple of years, Mark. So congratulations to Mark.
We're never letting you retire. You do too much good work here, brother. I'm just saying. Never. He's on a ladder like all the time, basically. See?
There he is.
It's 3:46 on a Friday, and Mark is on a ladder fixing stuff because that's what he does. He does literally everything around here.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah, whatever.
No, whatever. No, Mark is not going anywhere. He's
F
also
land,
a very
I'm on a
young
boat.
gentleman. Very young gentleman. So
He's younger than
if he retires early, then that's good for him for sure. I'll be retiring probably in the next 40 years or so that should be good for me. All right, AMD trying to find support. So just to cover everything, I'm pretty much out of everything right now. There's 9 outs here, so we have 10% left on the TQs. And again, that's why I have over 400 fills, because I trading foolishly all the time. And then the same thing for Google, still has the same 9 outs. So, when the market's slow like this and we're not getting like instant moves down, this is when I have a lot of outs, because we just keep coming back into levels, and it's like, I don't have to have all of these outs, but these are the best outs. You can't have better outs than this right now, right? I mean, we have that very bottom, and that's what happens, right? When he flushed down, I go, oh my God, I don't have a bid there, so we take it. If it continues, then great. Then we don't have it looking like this, right? But when it doesn't continue and it keeps on hitting these levels, then these outs actually look fine. So you got to watch out for plays like that.
Roblox.
We are coming in. Brendan mentioned that it was 442 with no change. So there is a sell imbalance coming. We're pretty sure about it. This is what it's looking like right now, CNQ. So, no big deal on that one. Royal Bank, we've seen a couple sells on this recently as well.
Literally every day this week.
Right. So I don't know. There's some Canadian bank issues happening. And then there really isn't. It's just the environment. I mean, the U.S. banks are also, especially like BAC is near a low as well. Wow, 27 flat almost coming for BAC. That's a good buy level there. We actually talked about this on the, again, on the recap show. Well, it's only because we always talk about all the different sectors, right? And I was like, if BAC is an Uncle Warren favorite, by the way, oh, there he is. No, not yet, not yet. All right, so 127, like I'm the one that pushed the button. So 27, a good buy area right there for BAC, I feel like. And that's coming into it. So, you know, watch out for that. BAC, possibly a decent one there at 27 flat.
Price to book is 0.85. I mean, you don't care as much about the PE, but that's single digits. I mean, if you like the value and you get a 3% dividend, lots to like there. I'm just talking about BAC, obviously.
The Canadian banks have 4 or 5% dividend.
Don't get me started on the Canadian banks. We got to talk to our boy about TD. I'm just saying.
Boy, but, but for me, that'd be the reason to sell.
I own shares of TD Bank. Roblox, I guess I should have stuck with this one. At the time, like you know what, I felt a little bit better about the market rolling over, so did not give this all the way to 29. It got to 29. TD, I'm not complaining about it. I just don't think it's doing as well as I would like it to. I think the bounce should have been a little bit better.
Doing as well as I want.
Off recent support. Rivian's now just going sideways. I'm tightening up the stop because it's 350, but we have
a read.
We have the read. Let's go to the desk.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
350 right now. So let's get ready to rock and roll here as we'll just adjust this. Brendan will have this number for us stat as it comes out for you and all of us as well. So here we go. We are now out.
Well, that was a trail.
Okay, we just had, I'm
assuming it's a buy.
Yeah, we got more short Google there. That's an accident waiting to happen. So let's just punch some out now on Google as there it is. So far, so good.
It's $155 million to buy. That's nothing.
No, that's nothing.
CCL's 1.3 million. That's the big one. Lucid's a 1 million buy. That actually is not that bad. Palantir is a buy of 875,000. I'm not really seeing anything. Paramount's a bit of a sell. I don't see the big tech names out there, but nothing on big tech. I mean, AMD 490,000 to sell. The big one, as I was just mentioning up at the top there.
Google, damn it.
Yeah, like it wasn't like a small buy to have spiked out there. The big one, CCL sell side, 1.3, and then Lucid 1 million to buy even. I got trailed out of Rivian despite the fact that there was not a big buy and bounce. I always tighten up the trail in that situation. It's Lucid I think I want to have a gander at. That's so far down here. Oh, that barely moved. It moved like 3 cents. Okay, so kind of a nothing burger there on Lucid. CCL, did that move on it? Not really. Probably good out there. Could have been a reverse at 1350. Didn't really do it. Didn't really like it. But CCL down 5% today. Wasn't a bad quarter. But just remember this in earnings season. Sometimes it matters what it was doing. Like this, going into earnings, it had bounced off support and went right up to the obvious resistance level and pulled back. So it had already gone 10% off the bottom the day before earnings. Sometimes that can mean they're going to sell the news regardless of how decent it might be. It wasn't a blowout, but it was okay. And CCL does not hold the 15 level, big key level on CCL. But remember, 1350, just as important because that's where the bottom held today.
Yes, sir. So we were a little lazy there. I didn't realize it. It's my own fault, obviously. I didn't realize that I had a order there on Google, so it came in and it actually went to the downside. Then we just punched out. So in and out there of Google. And then once we saw, but doesn't matter, that was a great trade. We were able to do some damage there on Google for sure, man. Downside, we held 10%. So in and out of that one. And then the TQs, I just punched out immediately. So that was a good out right there at 81s. So again, we still capture, that profit on TQQ because the minute, and you got to have quick hands. I didn't even have a stop order for that. I just went over there and punched it out because when that turned around and the number came a buy, remember I was like, oh yeah, this will be a sell. Well, it wasn't because that number that Brendan gave us earlier, and these are not numbers that we support. We get them from Financial Juice. So it was a 400 million sell. Then it came out a buy. So what sparked that? And Neil just talked about some of these names right there. There really is no NASDAQ name. What's up with Lucid? Lucid, that bottom of $5. We talked about that on Monday. That should have been bought for sure, but oh well. The NASDAQ's had quite a nice run. Now up 0.45% today.
Now Femi goes.
And starting to go, yeah. Now
and Roblox broke the high of the day as well. Roblox is having a day. Having a legit day.
Someone talked about that triple top on Roblox.
It just broke it. On the number, on the 350 number. Now, usually, like, I'm out of it, as I said.
You don't take that trade at 350.
No, you don't take.
You were, yeah, you were.
No, I was already out because I thought it was turning into a short, so I actually got some out a little bit too tight, and now it breaks out the top. Let's not forget about Roblox next week because, look, this stock went 40 down, failing 31. So if you're, like, the first part of the gap is to make a bottom and get back to 31. The second part of that is, can it actually fill in from 31? But you have a decent chance to test that. I think resistance first, so usually like short 31 first. And then if it consolidates above 30 into a breakout, that would also be the 50-period moving average it's taking out at 31 even. So shout out to anyone who stuck with Roblox. It was a good long. I didn't stick with it enough. It's a great day when you have trading opportunities on either end of the spectrum. Like, this is, it's not often that you have like trend down short opportunities and a lot of big tap tech names, but then you have names like Roblox, which are good longs, some of the biopharma names, Pfizer, Moderna, BioNTech, BNTX was also pretty good. You had small cappers today. You had a little bit of everything. I think that's been the flavor this week. And the markets are,
at that move.
I don't want to jinx it, but we're going to close green on the NASDAQ today. Okay, we might close green on the NASDAQ
You just
today.
literally just a huge pullback right now in the NASDAQ.
If we close red, that's my bad.
Yeah, it might be your bad at this point because it is coming back in pretty good there. It's too bad that we didn't hold that fluke short. Wow, that we had on Google. Uh-oh, Neil, the market is going to go red right here, it looks like. There's that fluke short that we had in Google. Look at it come right back in right now.
I should never say that.
Well, it's only 0.1 right now. Okay.
The tops never hold when I say whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Apparently, Snapchat's snapping right now. Yeah, nice move to the upside. I wonder if there was an imbalance on that. I'm not sure.
Everything paired except for Palantir.
Yeah, I don't see anything on Snap, but it is moving to the high side. Okay.
No, everything paired.
I'm gonna pair myself off and go over to the big desk right now. So thank you so much for watching. I want to say Neil will take it home. We'll have the bell being rung in just a couple minutes right now. And Neil, the Nasdaq is now up 0.03. So
still a chance.
It's still a chance. I still think there's a good chance for it to turn. So all right, ciao. I'm gonna go get some water and I'll join Brendan at the desk and then carry you guys into 4:30 with the NOS boss and sector recap and a whole bunch of fun stuff. Look at the TQs.
Make sure you ask him if he's.
Jeez, the Nasdaq's already red, Neil.
I want to know if he took that Affirm trade because.
Yep, I'm gonna ask him lots of stuff.
Because that went to 2260. So if he got the 21s, I'm curious. Like if it goes to your target and you're a swing trader and it goes almost to your target 10 minutes into the trade, do you actually get out of it? So I'm going to try this and see if it actually works. I'm going to change the bull into a bear because if I jinx it one way, can I jinx it the other way? That's how I roll, man. I'm not taking any trades off of that. I was just kind of joking around that the NASDAQ looked like it was going to close potentially strong. And then I know Mr. Long Shorts. I do it. I say it. And then it always happens. But I made the effort of changing the bull into a bear, and then maybe we can catch a bid. We're probably not going to. Snapchat, that's the move Sean was referencing. Didn't really see anything. Usually, if a stock moves this late in the day, after 350, I'm thinking imbalance. Snapchat did not pop up there, so it's not necessarily imbalance related in terms of a big imbalance. So I'm not really sure why Snapchat. It's not a huge pop. It was already strong on the day. This is another shorted name, which is trying to make a move to the upside. Roblox also reversed. You could have just thrown some shorts on up there. Not that I would this late in the day. But Roblox kind of failed that top at 29. I'm sure I can look at Rivian, and that would have been a bet out. And then you look at the name that I think we ignored almost all day today. Like Tesla was breaking 250, cruising into 251, and then, oops, right back into 250. Esteban, Affirm is at 21 again. This is exactly why I'm interested. I'm just really curious because I'm not a swing trader. And I think when you look for, when he's looking at that 21 into 23, well, if you put the swing trade on and you're in at 9:30 and at 10 o'clock, it's already at 22.50 and your target was 23, is looking at the daily chart. Like, I don't wonder, does your swing trade turn into a 30-minute trade? Now, if you're a day trader and that's my target, I'm out of that 10 times out of 10. No questions asked. You get that 21 breakout, I'm out of that bad boy when it gets to 22.60 and curls on me. I'm not holding it all the way back in. It went to your target. You should be happy and you should take it. But as a swing trader, it hasn't violated your stop. Like, would you be out of that one? Oh, and by the way, hey, what's up now? See? The NASDAQ is up 0.1%. See? That's what happens. I did my job. I changed the bull to a bear, and then that turned the market the other way. So now the NASDAQ has a fighting chance of closing green today. We'll see if it actually happens. I'm going to now randomly look at the cues because I'm curious about this with only 2 minutes to go. Yes, you're right, John J. Lee.
Housing.
You gotta be watching out for the whipsaw action and keep your ear to the ground with the futures of the weekend, because if there actually was a shutdown, I think it would be temporary, but it can move the overnight markets and cause some turmoil on Monday. Maybe that's why there was some risk off going right in the end of the day when it looked like we were cruising. Probably a little bit of risk off going into the end, but we do have a decent chance of closing green. We'll see if it happens. Apparently, Sean's mic was hot. I have no idea if that's true. Probably talking a little bit of shop. You're going to see Sean in 1 minute to do the after show with Michael and Austin at a firm call, which was a fantastic one this morning. Big shout out to everybody, because when we looked at that Groupon, all jokes aside on Groupon, this is now going to be on my radar on Monday. For the record, it did pull back in. If there is no news on a parabolic mover this late in the day, chasing tops is generally a really bad thing to do, and it's now pulling back. If you got in early, you're probably still in the money. I would suggest most people probably have taken their profits on this. Groupon, the 35% short floated name that is up 5x in the last 4 or 5 months that nobody knew about. So shout out to that. 30 seconds to go. Adara and her double bottom on Micron call, which I think was a fantastic one, is about to ring the bell. Shout out to her having a fantastic week. And shout out to everybody in the chat for making it a fun day, because we learn from you just as much as you do from us. But get the camera off me, and let's get on over to the bell. There she is, Adara. Fantastic job all week long to close out a great week in 5, 4, 3, 2. And the market is now closed. And look, Lonely Macaroni, does it matter if we're actually red or green by a couple of percentage points? It doesn't. However, it's just a psychological thing for fun. And I just hate it if, like, I say something random and it's like, look at me jinxing it. No, we're just having fun with it. It doesn't really matter if we close 0.2 up or whatever it might be. But for the record, this is the NASDAQ, and I just saw it at 0.02. So I'm going to say that we close green because that's what I'm choosing to think at this particular point. But it's been an absolutely fun week. Want to shout out Mark for doing a great job, working all throughout the afternoon show on ladders, doing his thing. Fabian and Ramin is always doing a great job on the 1s and 2s. Midday Fire, you've seen it all week. Obi doing a great job with Sharif, the professor, and Adara kicking butt, her first week trading in front of all of you. Thank you for supporting her. Brandon at the desk doing his thing. You know who I am. I'm the guy who jinxes the markets at the tops and the bottoms every single time. And you're headed to the desk for the market recap with Sean and special guest, the NOS boss.
Yo, everybody. Welcome to the market recap show. I just heard in my ear that this is the